now it's working. We are officially in pre-show territory.
Very good.
Should let our Discord friends know that we are doing this. There we go. Okay. Now, to focus on topics. Hi, you've been busy. Nice.
Yeah, I've just put in just the actual news posts for the idols and the safe cracking and the classic because I thought we mentioned them and we can just have a discussion on them ourselves.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Wait, I should leave that open. Just realized I closed the tab, which means I don't have Twitch chat, so if anyone's talked in there, I haven't seen it yet. There we go. Now I have Twitch chat open.
Might have to also head over to, let's have a look.
Okay. Do we want to grab? I'm gonna try to grab this week's stream TLDW as well.
Yes.
And then that's probably enough.
I couldn't find that one in there.
What was that?
I couldn't find that there, but it might be under someone. So I just searched it by I'm Sudi. So if someone else put it up, I couldn't see it there. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, Pern is sick, so we are fortunate enough to have him here, but there may be some coughing.
Oh, I hope that muted in time then.
Oh, you muted most of it. There was a little bit, but not
good.
much. Yeah, I wonder if I guess maybe Rubik put this one up. Because don't they go back and forth?
Yeah, because I'm Sudi doesn't, because I generally just do by the name. I'm Rubik. I couldn't remember the other one's name.
Okay. Image.
Hey Mage, does it feel weird watching your channel and not being on?
Yeah, I found it. It was under I'm Rubik's this time. Man, I hate the new Reddit so much.
I just can't find anything. If it's not on the front page where I can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Bad. Alright. There, I think that's enough for a good show.
Sweet.
Let me close some shit so it's not in my way. They said it's super weird. He couldn't find the show live because he's not following himself. Alright, kill that. Then what do we got? Okay. Let's do this thing. I'm gonna stop the pre-show recording. Got a short 5-minute pre-show. And then starting another recording now for the actual show. And then we can hop into this. Alright. Here we go. Actually, I should put a date in here that's actually the right date because I almost read the wrong one. Alright. You're listening to Runescape Weekly for 6/8/2018. I am your host, not MageBit, with 12 years of RuneScape experience or something like that. We're doing a show without Mage because he is busy, got lots of life stuff going on. So Pernasius and I are here to entertain you. How are you doing, Pern?
I am, as I said before, halfway human again now. So I do apologise to anyone if my voice does sound a bit different. I have had bronchitis pretty much for a week now. Managed to get my internet uploads has been increased from 1.5 megabits per second to over 5, sometimes hitting that sort of 6 megabits per second mark. So I've been able to live stream, and of course, as soon as it happens, I get sick. So I did one live stream and then have been off sick a week. So that has been fun, but can actually talk more than 4 or 5 words without bursting into sort of a big coughing attack and feel like my lungs are popping into my throat. So yeah, better today, thank you.
That's good. Mage says it's a little hard to hear you, so I just turned Pern up. Hopefully that is enough. If not, I can turn him up a little bit more. Yeah, I am like kind of hungover because last night was the Stanley Cup Finals, which for those who don't know is a hockey thing. And the Washington Capitals are my favorite hockey team, and they just won the Stanley Cup for the first time ever, which is amazing.
Yes, I meant to watch that today and ended up falling asleep again, so I missed it, and I was most upset about that.
It was a very intense game. Like literally won by like just one goal made the difference. It was like it was either tied or one goal ahead the whole time. No one took a big lead. It was quite the thing to watch. All right. So we will get into topics here. I think that Solak bug abuse results thing has the wrong link in it. It's linking back to the doc, so I'm just gonna hop on to the TLDW and we can circle back around to that if you can find the right link.
Yeah, no, I've got it open already myself.
Oh, okay. Well, if you wanna read that, then oh, there we go. Cool. Now I have the link.
Yeah.
Then we can just do this.
Yeah.
All right.
So you want to take them in turns? I'll read one, you read one, or how did you want to do?
Sure. Yeah. Let's do it turns by topic, and maybe the TLDWs we might need to be a bit different than that because they're super long, which we can deal with.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Of course, we break those up. Also, don't forget, people, being the start of the month, the reset of the Giant Oyster. If you haven't done that yet, Premier Club members, go and get into the vault and get your things there. And also, don't forget your free item. There is a free item on Sutherland Store. It's called Death by Air, I think it is this for this month. So remember to grab those for some free stuff for you guys.
And the other thing is, now I can't remember which JMod is doing it, but one of the JMods is running a competition on his Twitter where if you follow him and retweet him, you get a chance to name one of the bosses that's going to be in Elite Dungeon 2. So if you want to put your mark on RuneScape, go follow him on Twitter and let me see if I follow him on Twitter and retweet it. Let me see if I can figure out who that is, because I think it's at the top.
That would be pretty awesome.
It's at the top of the RuneScape. Yeah, right. I was thinking about it. I'm pretty sure I would just name it after myself. They said, of course, within reason, which of course, Mod of Ryan, I think, is the one running it the way it looks. So yeah,
very good.
we will also. I will put that in the show notes.
But anyway, get there. You can call it a spankerpern. uh, but anyway, well, Hannah gets those into the show notes. As we all know, Solak has been out for almost 2 weeks now, and there was a bit of an issue on release where there was a bug discovered, and I think the original people who got caught, if they did it once or twice and then realised, well, hang on, this isn't right, they should have been let go. But of course, as always on RuneScape, we have people who decide that they're above the law and think they can continually abuse it. Now, they did say they would do something about that, and Mod Shawnee has actually put in the investigations results up for us. And I do apologize about my phone there. I'll just turn that off so it won't beep anyone. So he says, hello everyone. Last Friday, we made a post updating you all on the situation regarding bug abuse at Solak. In that post, we outlined our plan to analyse the 252 accounts that defeated Solak during the period the bug was live. I can confirm that the bug abuse team have finished their investigation and we're happy to share the results with you. In a nutshell, the volumes break down like so. Abuse the bug, 154 players. Did not abuse it, 98 players. For the group of players who abused the bug, we've carefully considered conditions which resulted in players falling into our analysis list. Once we went through the list, we then considered things such as the following conditions, plus other variables in multiple game sessions where this was abused. Killed Solak at least once during the period the bug was live. Click the Steel Titan scroll or swapping the Steel Titan familiar during the kill. High rapid clicking of 5 minutes or more with Titan out. The action they've taken, we've confirmed that 98 players did not abuse their kill, and as a result, we've taken no action against their accounts. For the 154 players who abused the bug, we'll be taking appropriate action against each account, some more severely than others, which includes removal of any kills on Solak. This means Reaper achievements will be lost. Removal of the Solak collection log progress. Removal of any pets gained from Solak, and temporary offences applied against their accounts, in this case, either a 3-day or a 2-week ban. All accounts that have had action taken on them have been contacted by us in their message centre, and as always, I want to take this chance to reiterate that we take bug abuse very seriously.
Yeah.
Now,
this is a great thing for them to have done.
Yeah. Now, my one issue is if someone has done one kill not real, because I mean, a Steel Titan is something you do take. It's not like the next one where you drop a box trap and stand in the box trap.
Well,
that is a legitimate, bug abuse.
Well, so the way this bug worked is using a Steel Titan to attack Solak would not force the fourth phase. And I might get some of the minutia here wrong, so excuse me if I do. But generally, basically, the fourth phase is, I think, considered the hardest phase, and everyone's having trouble with that. And so what you would do is you would get a Steel Titan, and you would literally just spam the Steel Titan attack and not do anything else, and kill Solak that way. So it's not like someone who brought a Steel Titan would be able to do it without actually abusing. Like, you have to know what you're doing. You can't just accidentally do this, basically.
Okay. I thought it was just that it was just overhitting. I didn't realize you were constantly spam hitting it. Fair enough.
The only way to hit it was with the Steel Titan. So it's basically you were just using the scrolls to make the Steel Titan attack as often as you could. So it made it pretty easy for them to track. And I think in this case, I'm guessing what they did is, like, if you did it once, then they probably just gave you like a 3-day ban. If you did it more than once, they gave you longer than that, right? But with something like getting comp back, you kind of have to ban people even if they did it once, because like just for the fact that like people were doing it to literally get comp back, right? That's why most people were doing this. I think the numbers are kind of astounding. Like, do you look down further? Like,
only 154, yeah.
Well, but just the fact that the majority of people who did it is kind of what blows my mind. Like, 154 out of 250 abused the bug to get the Solak kill.
Yeah.
Which is kind of amazing. They also said that I don't remember if this was in this post or if it was written somewhere else, but they did remove at least one crossbow from the game, or not.
Yes.
They didn't remove the crossbow; they removed the gold that was traded for it. So I think the person who bought the crossbow still has it, but the gold that was given to the player who got the drop has been deleted. And
Okay.
if you were following this closely, there was a lot of drama because there is a popular RS streamer who I will not name who abused this bug, got a crossbow drop, and then was trying to act as if he was not doing bug abuse and was actually being quite an asshole, to put it lightly. And so there was a lot of drama in the community about this, and I think a lot of people didn't give Jagex enough credit on this. Like people were like, "Jagex, why aren't you doing anything when it had just happened?" And I think we gave
And
given Jagex some time, and they actually took action. You can't respond instantly to stuff like this.
exactly. I mean, there has to be a process, and they have to make sure that those ones, yes, they may have the video evidence, but they've got to make sure they cross their I's and dot their T's type thing. Um, and I think they've done very well. And to sort of have it all done sort of pretty much within a week, kudos, Jagex. You've done a great job, and you cop a lot of abuse for a lot of things out there. I think you've handled this one very well.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we
So
will.
moving on, and it obviously, is the Solak we're talking about. So it is the TLDW 381, the Solak Showcase. So I'll let you take the first part if you like.
Sure. All right. So, because they had some quick details outside of Solak. Runefest tickets are now on sale. The 500 early bird tickets have already been sold. We thought responding to removing continuous four-tick we thought the response to removing continuous four-tick auto attacking would be negative, but we're really happy with it. Realistically, we know we've got a bit more work to do. It's not a done thing, and they do have more work to do. Regular four-tick auto attacking also needs to be removed, Jagex. I don't understand why you won't do it. It frustrates me.
I thought the four-tick auto attack, the way they explained it, wasn't really an issue. It was more just that continuous one.
I mean, the
So I
continuous one
thought
was more broken, but I still think,
hmm,
like, we're talking about bugs previously with Solak. Like, four-tick auto attacking is a bug at the heart of it. Like, it's the same reason they've removed, walking from bosses. Like, sure, walking a boss took some skill, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't a bug. And the other thing is, like, I don't know. Like, my other big issue is the fact that you don't get four-tick auto attacking with melee or range. And if they really want to leave four-tick in the game, then they need to enable him for those other two combat styles. It's just kind of sucks that mage is so out of balance with everything else thanks to four-ticking.
okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, I don't really understand all that stuff. I'm a Revolution player, so I do most of my attacking with that. So yeah, I didn't realize four ticking was that bad as well. So okay.
Yeah, I mean it's it's controversial, I'll say. I think I'm someone who just doesn't like having a bug be a feature in a game, but people who do
Hmm.
it obviously like it, and so it's a very hard thing for them to decide. But I don't know. I mean, more depth in combat is good, but to me, four ticking is the wrong way to go around it. But I I kind of worry that they won't think about this for like another 3 or 4 years now because oh well, we've removed continuous four ticking and now we can move on. But really, they need to come up with an alternate solution to this problem. Anyways, certain parts of the Parcels event that we really like could oh, there are certain parts of the Parcels event that we really like could work on a few things because we know we're going to do it again. Uh, we don't think it's as generous as it could be. A little bit irritating for players. Will be stackable in the bank next time. Think of the 6 for 5 summer special as half of Premier Club. It's priced like a half gold Premier Club. It lasts half as long. It's kind of a catch up for those who missed it. Some people are saying the math doesn't add up. Think of it as 2 separate deals, a summer special and a half year Premier Club. Yeah, there's
Hmm.
a lot of people who have been
That,
angry about the half year Premier Club, and honestly, it's a good thing to do that because, as they said, like if you miss Premier Club in January, it
yeah,
sucks, and so giving people another time to get it is a very good thing.
exactly right. I mean, for people who may not have been around, financial difficulties. I mean, I bought Premier Club, and I know a large section of the Premier Club uh, people were the ones complaining about this because people got the thing that was only supposed to be a one-off and such. But that's like, well, who cares? It's bringing more money into Jagex. It's a great deal. And the other complaint about buy 3 months for the price of 2 or 6 months for the price of 5. People were sort of complaining about that. But as they said there, the 3 for 2 doesn't give you any of the benefits that the Premier Club that you're getting with this one does. So I thought it was a really, really good deal that they did.
Yeah, I hope we see more like
Yeah.
that. Honestly, it would be nice if Premier Club was purchasable for longer or something. I don't know, because it does suck if you don't have that money in January. And let's all be honest too. Like November through January is when a lot of people are spending money on Christmas. So a lot of people don't have that extra $80 to throw down on a
That's right.
package.
And imagine for someone who did buy a 6 months package and thought, "Geez, this is really good. I wish I had have got the got it for the full 12 months." Well, now they've got that opportunity to add that extra 6 months, and it's money into the company that adds to development in the game.
Right.
Further things for us. So
You can't win with
there's nothing wrong.
subscription pricing because it's like they raise the price, everybody gets angry. They introduce a deal
Hmm.
that makes it cheaper, everybody gets angry. It's like, how
Yeah.
about let's just meet somewhere in the middle, everybody. Come on.
Yes. Well, that's the. I mean, I call this the age of the perpetually angered society because we always want to have something to be angry about at someone.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
I mean
ridiculous
the
these
internet
days.
kind of fosters that because like on the internet, like angry stuff, goes to the top more than pleasant
Mm,
stuff, especially on Reddit where like people upvote stuff when they're angry. You don't upvote stuff when you're happy, so
yeah.
it kind of turns into like this echo
Mm.
chamber type thing.
Actually, yeah. Speaking of, if I can just interrupt on here, one of our listeners, Thieves, I forgot to put it in there, but he actually put a post up asking for. Did you do the traveling merchant at all in the new fishing area?
I've heard about it, but I haven't
Okay.
made use of it yet.
You can buy an uncharted island map down there, and there's a very rare chance. They're all green maps, and there's a very rare chance of getting a red map where it gives you the island for Tavia's fishing rod. So that's the only way to get Tavia's fishing rod, unless you sort of spend 110 mil on the GE. But obviously, there are a lot of red green colorblind people out there, and Thieves is one of them. And he was asking, is there a way to put an examine on to show those people if they did get a red or a green one? Just a right click examine, rather than having to make it and see did it go with the green lot or did it is it a new item? And people were actually down voting that. Now it
That's
doesn't
amazing.
hurt anyone in any way. It's a quality of life update for for someone who is colorblind. I couldn't understand how people could downvote something like that.
Yeah, I saw that post too. And unfortunately, a JMod responded, and it sounds like something's going to be done about it. So, despite people's assholery, it's still gonna be addressed. But yeah, people will downvote
Yeah,
anything. It's silly.
I know. And the JMod comment said, "Hey, great idea. We should be able to do that. No worries at all." But yeah, to see downvotes on that, I thought, what is wrong with society?
And the other problem is like there's a lot of Reddit bots that like just downvote like any new post, so it's hard to tell sometimes if that's what's going on or if like it's actual people. But yeah, it's
Okay, didn't realize that either.
yeah.
Reddit bots, fantastic.
It's a big problem that Reddit has. Yeah, people trying to like kind of manipulate content with bots to upvote and downvote. Anyways, we
Wow.
shall move on to the
Yes.
next part of the TLDW here, Group Ironman mode. They hit a roadblock on the technical side and they're trying out how to best address it. Didn't expect it to happen. They will let players know more when they can. Apologies on being quiet on Group Iron Man. I don't understand why they're apologizing. They haven't really been quiet about it, but apparently some people think they have been. Once again, player outrage over nothing. Uh, Blog is in feedback and will be published soon. Alright. Now we are on to the build a backlog. I will read like the first three here and then let you
Yep.
take over for some. Alright. Build a backlog is an unfiltered list of staff and player ideas that have made it onto our backlog. The poll is generally to see what sticks with players. Publishing this poll has shown fundamental difference between how we see build a backlog and how players see it. We'd like to bring those two together because it's causing a lot of issues. The way we see it, throw a bunch of crap against the wall and see what sticks. If something comes up higher than we thought, then we begin exploring that. Each item on the list has various parts to it, like different rewards, story, characters, etc. And if people like little bits of it, then that's for the next stage. The first stage is build a back. The first stage is build a backlog. Does an update even interest you? The second stage is master skill. The second stage is to pull and write a dev log, etc. Like with the master skill cape perks, which rest in peace, unfortunately, for those things. The way we see it, put the options in order of release. And before we move on to the next one here, and I'll let you hand it. What were your feelings on Master Skill Cape perks? I don't know if you talked about
I
that on the
wanted them.
show at all.
Yeah, no, I don't. I wanted them. You know, obviously, I am one who wants to see content beyond 99s, and and it is a little self-serving because I am maxed. I like working towards 99s, but I don't just like cosmetics. I want something to work towards. And if there's an extra little perk, it doesn't have to be a big thing. Uh, and I mean, I did sort of have my mind changed a little bit because, they were saying, well, really, it's a lazy way to sort of take a skill to 99 when they start putting a perk on a cape, but they give you no content between 99 and 120. Uh,
What's always interesting to me that people say that because like back in the day, like most
hmm,
RuneScape skills did not have content even to 99. Like so,
yeah,
it's just weird how much the mentality is shifted. Where it's
it's
like
changed.
you can't add anything. Like if you're gonna release a 120 skill, literally every level has to have content. Like that's never how skills have worked in the game.
Hmm.
And like
No, we
especially because
saw.
I was kind of had mixed feelings on this idea too, because I I was worried about how powerful they might be, but if they would have just been real basic perks, I don't think it would have been an issue.
No.
But I also feel like they listened to the wrong part of the community. Like right now we have Jagex repolling the little Tuzzy pet thing from raids, which is another thing that I hate, but we forgot to add to the topics. But the fact that they're repolling something that lost is just complete BS. But anyway, so like with
Yeah.
that repoll, they're like we're gonna add all these qualifications where you can only vote for this if you meet these qualifications. Well, of course, people who don't like 120s are never going to vote yes for 120 perks. Like never.
Exactly.
But people who
Yeah.
like 120s are totally gonna want them. So maybe make a 120 cape a requirement to vote in that poll and poll it again, Jagex. Like
Hmm.
do something like that
Yeah.
because
Something like that. I mean, I am in the total extreme. I don't even like the 200 cap. I'd like to see that lifted completely and either make it an infinite number or even 5.4 bill per skill. I don't like having that hard 200 mil cap because once I get my favorite skills to that level, it's like, well, why am I going to keep sort of playing?
yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I would like to see some kind of prestige system. I don't. The thing that I definitely don't want is rewards for post 200 mil. But I think
oh no,
giving
no.
people a way to gain more XP would totally be a good thing.
Hmm. That's what I said. I mean, I love the idea. They said where, excuse me, take over for a sec.
Yeah, they've talked. I think about at one point they talked about letting your skilling pets store extra XP for you or something like that, and I would have loved that as a thing, but like, they haven't really pursued that because once again, like those kind of updates are never going to be hugely popular, but they are updates that are needed for like the longevity of the game, which I think is why honestly this is why I think Jagex pulls too much stuff because listening to the majority of your players or even the majority of players on Reddit is not necessarily actually accurate. Whereas like people like MageBit, like I talked to Mage about the skilling thing, and like he of course wanted the perks because he loves 120s, and like that's the kind of people that update is for, and they're not being listened to, which sucks.
Exactly. I mean, they make all these updates for a very small PvP community. I'm sure the 120 community is much bigger than that, but we seem to always get the short straw. And the pets was what I was going to mention, where you know going into a pet and being able to upgrade your pet would have been a fantastic idea. But we'll just have to wait and see what they go with.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll move on here. I'll read the next one. We added some 6th Age interpretations to completed 5th Age storylines like vampires, Z- Daenerys, Fremnik. Daenerys is actually higher than vampires, which is the biggest surprise. We haven't seen Daenerys stories since 2010 because it was a complete trilogy. Yes, please give us another fairy quest. One of my favorite quest lines, honestly. So many good puns in that quest line.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fairy quest line. It was sort of the farming type quests, and they said they're surprised. But again, we've just had a fairly large number, yeah, a fairly big update with the Vampires Quest series, and that we got that finished off. That was only last year. Whereas, as I said, 2010. So it's people are looking forward to getting sort of that older content brought up to date.
Yeah, and also, yeah, it would be a great time to like go remodel that place. So the Jagex hasn't done a graphical rework in like what over a year now. It's kind of stopped on those, unfortunately.
Yeah, we were supposed to be getting that Sears Village, which sort of fizzled out.
Yeah, disappeared. All right, we want to do a build a backlog poll once a month. Every month we add 20 to 30 things to our backlog, so we should be able to do it every month. We're talking about Halloween at the moment, so might be that next month we put Halloween concept ideas. Can't promise once a month though, obviously. Now that's something that frustrated me. They put a Halloween event in the build a backlog poll, and I was like, if you're gonna skip
Yeah,
a Halloween event this year, like I would rage so hard. Like, don't even
me too.
mess with me. Don't.
Why is yeah? I mean, especially after the rage after the Easter event, and
Yeah,
they said, "Oh, that was one off. Halloween, Christmas, we'll still be doing those." And now there's some poll on it. It's like, no, just do it. That shouldn't be polled.
absolutely. Like, if they want to poll what event to do, sure. But they literally polled, should we do a Halloween event? And that's like, no, that's not something you poll. You have no idea who's voting in that poll. And like, events are just a major part of the game for me. I
Mm.
was so frustrated with that.
Yeah, well, I was really, really annoyed at that one too.
Also, Mod Osborne here addresses, I don't often create memes. The front page Reddit was full of moving the Max Guild memes, so I apologize for this. And this is another thing I don't understand is I get why when you first look at the poll and you think move the Max Guild to Varrock, that's a stupid idea. But if you think about, and that was my initial reaction, but if you think about it a bit, moving the Max Guild actually makes a decent amount of sense because it would be an incentive for newer players. Like newer players are hanging out in Varrock. Honestly, Menopause might have been a better choice for the Max Guild, but moving it to a lower
Ashdale.
Ashdale.
Send it. Well, Ashdale's useless now. Let's send the
Yeah,
next guild to Ashdale
yeah,
and put a big wall around, and anyone running to fight Agaroth has to run right around the Max Guild and go, "Oh, what's in there?" And they want to get in.
yeah. It would have been a really smart thing to do just to spread out the community a bit more. But of course, like
Yeah.
people are always like Prif is OP, and then they suggest nerfing Prif a little bit, and people lose their goddamn minds about it.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah. And Proof is way too OP. And yeah, that's where everyone, once you get to a certain level, that's where everyone lives.
I totally wouldn't mind a second max guild above the GD. It would be cool to look down upon them. Well, that's not a
Yeah,
power
too.
fantasy at all, Mage.
Age a bit.
All right. A lot of people liked the additional max guild perks, but absolutely hated moving it to Rock. We're going to repoll it as only the improvements and not moving it to the GE in the next months. Build a backlog. From a Jagex perspective, it did what we wanted. It got people talking, and it told us they liked this, but not that. Also, please don't actually buff the max guild. This is another thing,
Yeah,
another great example of why you shouldn't pull things. Of course, everyone's going to want the Max Guild buffed. Max Guild does not need a buff. It's already OP as hell.
I was about to say I'm in the Max Guild, and I think there is more than enough in there, and it doesn't need any more. Otherwise you're going to have players coming in and not leaving them. I mean, they don't leave Priff as it is. Now they're not going to leave the Max Guild full stop.
Buff the old guilds, not the like the Max Guild is the guild that needs a buff the least. Go buff the Heroes Guild or like whatever, the Rangers Guild, something like that.
Exactly.
Master Max Cave Guild on the second floor. I mean, I'd be okay with that. That would some place where only master where you can only access if you have all the master capes. That would actually be
Yes, that would be
interesting.
good.
I don't think it would. I don't think they can make it like do anything, but just have an area that you can only get to if you're master maxed. I'm all for that. And
Yeah.
I'm all for a master max cape. I'm all for a 200 mil max cape, or 5.4 bill cape, I guess you would call it.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah. I
more
mean,
capes.
I got to sit in the when I got my comp cape. I got to sit in the chair up there, and I've got a photo of that, so I was happy.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, just a cosmetic thing like sitting in the throne mage says. Yeah, that's a great idea. Things like that I think are perfect, but for some reason, I mean not for some reason. Of course, max guild wins because most people who vote in polls are going to be max, so therefore, of course, it's gonna what people are going to want it updated. It's just another
Yeah.
great example of why you shouldn't poll most things. But anyway, they're never going to listen to me. Uh, for the future, if two things feel like they're two separate ideas, which the Max Guild ones did, then we'll put them in two different options. And then let's see. The reason we didn't make it max players only is because we can filter the results to max players only, and that's the way we get data from all types of players. And but whatever, I've already complained about it. Anyways,
Yeah. So moving on to Solak, which obviously released on the 29th of May. Started on 13th of April 2017 during a TAP project. It had the concept but didn't really have a theme. Sat down with mods Clumsy. Rahman initially went over to Mod Osborne, and because the ambassador as a concept was still floating, he said he would do it. But when he went over to the character artist, and after ideas, and because it wasn't an actual project, it was TAP, we could go in any direction that we wanted. By no means did it just replace the ambassador, like people seem to believe because it said so on RuneWiki. It was just where we wanted to go with our personal time on our personal project. Some TAP days we didn't manage to get to work on it. Proper development didn't begin until January 1st, 2018. All the lore is accessible. Expecting 10 to 15-minute kills at the start, with times getting lower as players figure it out. Excuse me.
all right. Let's see. No requirements to the fight. Rumors about a Slayer level requirement is false. Sorry about that. Group mode. Group mode. Want to clarify that 7-man is a hard cap. You can't take more than 7 people, but you can take less than 7 people. Duo mode as well exists. We understand fighting large groups for PvM can be an issue. The mechanics are the same. It will feel very similar to group, but you will have to adapt to some of the mechanics made for groups. Solak was built and designed for groups. Duo mode came a bit at a later date. We've adapted things and we've adapted numbers. Do you want to take back over?
Yeah. Has the same mechanics with some number tweaks where certain mechanics require more than 2 people, e.g. DPS test mechanics. Drops will not be different to the 6 and 7 mode. Duo mode will be there on release. Hopefully they're around the same difficulty, with duo being a little easier. Separate kill timers for group and duo, but kill count will be combined. The global broadcast of first kill of group and first kill of duo mode. Ironman will not get their own broadcast because top tier Ironman have the same gear as top tier mains and should be able to compete for the first kill.
And I don't really agree with that. I don't know. It feels a little weird that they wouldn't give some recognition to Iron Man, because even if they have the same gear, they still literally had to collect everything themselves. Like they deserve a world first.
Yeah, the way they've watered down Iron Man now, though, I don't think it's really.
Well, I mean, they watered down getting maxed, sure, but like,
Yeah.
but
The
even so,
difficulty
you
of it,
still have
yeah,
to
that's
gather
true,
all
yeah.
your food and make all your pots yourself. Whereas, if you're a regular PVMer, you just go spend 300 mil on the GE and buy all your supplies for Solak and then go kill it. Like it's a bit,
Yeah.
it's a huge difference in how much time investment you put into it.
Very true. Yeah, I sort of wasn't really thinking of it that way. No first-time broadcast for the first drop. Normal broadcast rules apply. Insta-kill darts cannot be used. It will be part of the Reaper title. They didn't want to hold Solak behind while we address the complicated situation, and not have it on Reaper would be inconsistent.
All right. No trim or Mastercape quest requirements. Music tracks, but you need a kill for comp anyway. And this one did it strange too, where they have, I think, music traps locked behind like each phase of the fight. Unfortunately, you don't unlock them all right away, so it's kind of weird. Even if they remove Solak from Reaper, you still basically have to kill Solak to get comp anyway. So it was a strange choice considering the fact that they basically said they were going to remove bosses or remove Reaper title from comp, or at least I thought they had said that, but they're kind of backtracking on that stuff. It almost feels like. All right. Made the decision to not bring players in for playtests, so no players have an advantage on release. But we're really breaking down each phase and mechanic to refine the numbers based on all things players could do, including how defenses will be used. And that was a very, very good choice on theirs. I talked to David about this, and like when AOD came out, basically every high-end PVMer knew how to kill it because they had done playtesting, and even players who didn't go there like just got information. People like Couchy and people like that were just telling people how to kill it. So there was no first day hype for Angel of Death because everyone just knew what they were supposed to do. Okay, everything shown in November showcase relating to mechanics has been changed, bar maybe a couple of points. Marithal fights beside you, plays a big part in the story of Solak. Hopefully we get to expand upon that in the future. Yeah, give us a Solak quest, please, already.
Definitely. Oh, sorry about that. I'm just having a big...
Oh, it's no problem.
Big coughing attack at the moment.
No worries.
I'll let you keep
You'll
going.
be right, Burn.
Catch my breath.
DX.
That was DXDLB, who's he's actually puberty, as everyone here. His voice has changed.
All right, DX.
My voice hasn't changed.
All right, hopefully your levels are good. I don't know where DX is, but let me know stream if it sounds okay. All right, so
I'm in live. I don't know where you guys are.
No, we're. I was talking about your audio levels. Anyways.
Okay, how is my audio level?
I had to turn you down because you're pretty loud. I mean, you're also a bit too bassy, I would say, but it's not a huge deal right now.
Pern said the exact same thing.
Well,
here we go.
All right.
I've just made a couple of changes. All right, where are we up to?
Well, let's not worry about it mid-show. Let's just keep plugging along. All right. Hopefully, one day we'll be able to transition this into the player kit, but the player character rework is a lot bigger than that. I think. Oh, they're showing off Ethereal concept art. She kind of looks ridiculously good, and they're hoping that they can someday let players look that good, which would be great. Moving away from the hand-holding with mechanics, obviously some in-game messages for telegraphed attacks, etc. With AOD, we had issues of players skipping, ignoring mechanics like icicles, so Ramen has learned from that. Select mechanics will not be ignorable/skippable. Moving away from the traditional tank and spank boss gameplay, give players... You know what? I don't think we need to read. There's like a million of these, and I don't think people are that interested in all these
I don't think
details.
Pern would be able to survive.
Pern's doing great, but yeah, I just think that this is getting a bit more in depth than people are gonna care about. And I also know that Mage and David did that Solak thing, so we're gonna move on from the showcase and just.
There's a very involved, but yeah, just the main things there, as we said about the Master Quest Cape.
Yeah, we covered the important stuff, I think.
etc. So you're exactly right. There's nothing else really that we need to cover too much there.
All right.
One thing is, it doesn't count as a Creatures from the Lost Grove Slayer task.
Which is sad. I don't know why they stopped making bosses Slayer tasks. Those are always fun, and I don't know. It'd be cool if it did. Not that it would be that efficient. The next thing we have to talk about is Overgrown Idols. It's been nearly 9 years since Choking Ivy creepers were seen clambering up the stone walls of RuneScape's major cities, but today's releases a new type of woodcutting training method, filling in a niche between crystal trees and ivy. But it doesn't stop there. This new method gives you a chance to help you fell trees all around the world. This members only update sees 2 overgrown idols on Earth near the shipyard and Judinko Cave on the island of Karamja, requiring level 81 woodcutting. There is an opportunity to receive some great buffs for your woodcutting prowess, showing that you're the best lumberjack in the whole of RuneScape. When you discover the overgrown idol, you need to chop through the dense vines, either solo or collaborative with a team. Once you've cleared the idol of the surrounding vines, you can unleash the power of the Karamja gods, resulting in a random chance of getting one of the following: double cut rate, resulting in overall cutting of logs being much faster, 10% increase in woodcutting success, 10% chance to get double logs or cut twice the ivy, vines, and crystal, etc., 5% XP boost, log auto banking effect. For those lucky to reach the idol, there's a lore book telling the tales and giving some insight into the elusive Karamja gods. So chop chop, time to get chopping. All right.
Wasn't there already a double cut rate when it came to doing the evil tree and also the log auto banking effect?
Yeah, well, that's
no
they
idea.
said that they took those ideas from that and just sort of spread them out. Now, where on the evil trees, they are a lot. These are 5-minute boosts that you get from these, whereas evil tree can be sort of up to about 20 minutes, I think it is.
Yeah.
Great. I thought it was a really good update, this one. It fits into that sort of area they were looking for, that sort of mid to high wood cutting, sort of in between ivy and crystal trees. The only thing I would have liked to have seen is a chance to bottle these, these boosts and use them sort of at a later date when they're going to be useful to you.
Yeah, these effects are kind of useless as they're currently designed. So you basically have to get it and then instantly move on to where you want. I think you're totally right. You shouldn't necessarily be able to store up a bunch of them, but you should be able to do some chopping and maybe have like 3 vials that you can fill up with, with a perk, and then you can move on and do your other stuff and then come back later. That would have made this much more useful.
What I would have liked to have seen is, a chance once you get to the idol in the middle, there's a chance to get that vial or that jar that'll store it for you. So it's not always there, but there is a chance. And of course, they'll be untradeable, and maybe you can bank up to. I would have thought 10 at a time as a max. That would have given you 50 minutes.
Do you know if
less
these
than an hour
boosts work with divine locations?
I don't know if they work on divine locations.
Because that's honestly the only
it.
use I can see for most of these. As they are right now, is you go here and do this and then do a divine location.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I would have liked to have seen a Karamja graphic update to go along with the woodcutting idols here.
Well, they said they were never going to do that. They just don't have time to do that sort of work, unfortunately. Eventually we may see it, but not at this stage.
They need to make time. Look, we need a rework team, and the rework team needs to focus on graphical reworks and just like reworking dead content, like old mini games or like old areas that look like shit and there's nothing to do there. That's what Jagex needs to do.
We've still got the Sears Village, which was supposedly graphically updated but never got released.
Yeah, that's buried somewhere. We brought that up earlier in the show. All right. We shall now move on to safe cracking. It seems the Thieves Guild have upped their game and are looking at bigger marks than level 1 men and women. They're looking greedily at the king, queens, and bigwigs of Gillianor. Safe cracking is a new trading method unlocked after completing the buyers and sellers quest and related capers. From the safes, you'll get thieving XP, cold hard cash, and rewards points. These points can be spent on gubbins, like a consumable reward that protects you from being stunned, as well as items that allow you to instantly remove all suspicion from one elf clan. But safecrack.
That was funny because that was actually broken on release, and it actually stopped you from doing it for about 3 days.
Wow, that's amazing.
Some people were using it, like you go to you want the bird's nest, so you use it on the Myla clan, and rather than resetting it, rather than doing that, it was blocking some people. It was like 3 days before they could start thieving again.
I actually do love QA. I think they do it best job as they possibly can.
Yeah, and you say that with at least 5 sets of quotation marks.
No, I say that completely straight.
That's a very difficult job. But as we said, there's 10 or 12 of them there to try and find all the glitches in a 15-year-old game. It's not easy to do.
Nope. Software is a bug-filled mess. Literally never played a game that hasn't had some issues with bugs, especially indie games where the teams are smaller. Anyways, with safecracking comes the addition of the Master Lockpick, a lockpick that will never break, as well as the Master Stethoscope. When purchased, these rewards can be placed on your tool belt. Safecracking is simple, a slightly AFK training method that is best described as elder trees for thieving. 49 safes are located across the world. Work with your friends to find them all. Gold Premier Club members receive 500 free pilfer points. Obviously, this was April, so I don't think that's the thing anymore. And yeah.
I enjoyed the safe cracking update. The one thing I didn't like about it was the fact that when we started up, I went to the Varric Castle, and the story of my life, being at level 107 thieving, was not able to picklock that bloody door on the top of the castle.
Safe cracking was a really great update. Thieving is or was one of the worst skills to train in the game up until this point, honestly. Like, mid-level thieving training, until you get to elves, it's just, and even then people want to do dwarf traders, it's such a high intensity just click fest where you basically, you trap an NPC in a corner and then hope you don't misclick once by accident, and you just have to spam click, and it was just not at all engaging. It wasn't fun. It was just very boring gameplay, and this mode coming along really changed that. I have loved doing it. It's fun. I think they struck a perfect balance between having an AFK version of it, but also having a non-AFK version of it that gives way more XP, and the way those are intertwined is brilliant, honestly. My only big issue with Overgrown Idols and Safecracking is I love both these updates, but we need to see skilling updates that make money as well. And these, I don't want to complain too much about these updates because they were obviously aimed at like the mid-level for skilling, not max. But I really hope that this year we see more post 99 skilling methods that actually make good money. That's really what I want to see from the game at some point soon. Like, I think next week we have the divination training method coming out. It's supposed to be like this, and that's cool. I'm probably going to use that too because mid-level divination sucks butt to train, and I would love an alternate way to do it. But please, Jagex, don't just fill in these gaps. Also start giving us 99 plus money-making methods. It's very
one of my issues with safe cracking as well was the fact that if you got caught, you don't get caught. If you got caught, there should be like a random, like if you get caught, you get taken to like one of the pillories or something. Make use of the old random again.
It would have been. I mean, the biggest thing I had with safe cracking is we talked about skill diversity, and Hannah touched on it, where you're going to have either GP making methods or XP making methods. They're doing a lot of XP making methods, a lot of AFK style methods. This. Yeah, it's a fantastic update, and don't get me wrong. And I've done my own sort of thought bubbles podcast on it, but I want to see real diversity, and that doesn't mean nerfing this type of thing. It means also revisiting older methods and looking where we can improve and update those. Diversity means exactly that. Don't just replace one thing with another. Give us choice.
I think we talked about this, but it would be great if because Dwarf Traders gets basically around the same, I think slightly, from what I've been told by David, slightly better XP than this, but only slightly better, like maybe like 50k an hour, so it's not actually worth doing. It's way more intense, but it would be awesome.
Weaklings anyway.
it would be awesome if something like Dwarf Traders made like 5 mil an hour. Like that would be a great update to Dwarf Traders. They're so click intensive. Let them have good XP and also let them make 5 mil an hour.
They're locked between a lot of high level quests, and my call there was take out all this basic ore that's in their pockets and give them gems, and you can get up, you can get up to an onyx gem from them, where you are going to be making that 3, 4, 5 mil an hour from them.
Or even give them those new alchables. Like they said that elite dungeons that are coming at the end of this month are going to have alchables in them that are not going to actually be like straight up items, but just something that you have to alch. Like that should be, that would be a great thing to add to skilling methods as well.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm happy enough with coin drops, but if they just want to put in alchables for that type of thing that aren't going to affect other methods, then yeah, I'm happy with that type of thing too.
Jagex almost did one of the most healthy things for the economy they've ever suggested. A couple months ago, when they introduced the idea of the new things that were going to introduce onto drop tables to replace like rune armor drops. They're introducing, I forget what they called them, but like basically things that you could only alch. They said all those things were going to be untradeable. And then the community flipped out and they reversed on that.
That pissed me off.
That would have been the most healthy thing ever for the economy. It would have gotten rid of auto clickers. It would stop, like right now the way like a lot of like high level inflation happens. Like I talked to David about this with Solak. Like basically everyone waiting for Solak to come out, every high level PVMer was wondering if the drop tables were going to be full of alchables or how it was going to be. And if they release a boss that has a ton of alchables, it causes the price of rares and stuff to skyrocket because people know that it's going to bring a bunch of money into the game. Obviously, inflation is not as bad as players think it is. Jagex has said that, and I honestly believe them. But making it so that you would have to alch your own drops would have been amazing because it would have created this great sync, right? Because basically you would have had 3 options. You would have had alch it yourself and take a bunch of time. Use the auto alcher in the Invention Guild, take a bunch of time, probably too slow to keep up. Or the other option, use the Spring Cleaner that they were updating and have it disassemble all your stuff and get points that way. Basically, high-level PVMers like David would probably just have their Spring Cleaner turn on disassemble, which means a ton of money would not be coming into the game.
Yeah.
A ton of it.
That auto disassemble, which would cost you nothing, or it will auto alch, which will cost you a spring each time.
Yeah, and lower level players would probably do something, or like people in the middle would probably do something like that. Low level players would just take the time to high alch all their stuff. People like me, I would probably high alch all my stuff just because I like to get as much money as possible. It was such a great idea that would have been so healthy for the economy, make you work for your own money. And I really hope Jagex reconsiders that. If anybody at Jagex listens to our podcast, please reconsider that change because it was a phenomenal thing for the economy. It was. Yeah,
no, I thought exactly so. I've just made 8,500 battle staves that I had, the parts from fighting spiritual mages. So I've just put all those together. I've chucked them all in my, my alching machine. Now you get 93 GP per, so that's about 60 million that I'm going to have at the end of the week. It takes a week for it to break them all down, but I don't have to do anything. It sits there. It does it when I'm offline. And it's a slow creep of that gold coming in rather than just throwing them all on the GE where, you don't make as much money. Someone else is going to sit there and alpha. But, I think doing it that way, as you said, stops those auto clickers, stops those bots buying those things and just sitting there and getting their 99 magic, using that way. So
auto clickers are one of the hardest bots in the game to detect. Because it's so simple to make one that it's like it's not like just reconsider it, Jagex, please save us, save the economy. You can do it. Anyways, the next thing we have to talk about here is RuneScape Classic, and as well as Fun Orb and what's Chronicle, yeah, that game that no one remembers, and RuneScape Chronicle are all shutting down. Jagex has basically said, as far as RuneScape Classic goes, they are worried basically about a bug coming out that completely breaks the game, and they don't have the dev time to fix, or that it's not worth the dev time to fix it. So they're going to close it down before some kind of game-breaking bug happens.
If they even have a dev who could still work on it.
I don't even know. I don't know if they do, but I have a friend who is
Maybe have
like
to start bringing back the old mods, like the Gower brothers. Bring them back. They
I
can
mean,
work on it.
yeah, you could easily hire the people who run the RuneScape Classic private servers if it was worth the reason to do it. The thing is, it's not worth the time for them, but they could easily hire someone to work on it for sure.
And just to for people, because I mean, a lot of people are saying, oh, they're doing it to save money and such. I mean, yeah, maybe. I don't know how much money it would cost them to sort of run that. The biggest thing is as we said, I mean, it's the security of your computer. I mean, there is no updates on that machine. There is so many bots over there. I mean, I heard for each legit player runs around 10 bots to make it efficient to play that game over there.
I mean, I 100% don't think that it's because of money. There's no way it costs that much money to run RuneScape Classic. It's got to be like a couple $100 a year, and that's just paying for electricity. Like, it's not anything beyond that. It absolutely is game breaking. But and the other thing is, like, the longer we move on, like, Java keeps getting deprecated in more and more places, and RuneScape Classic uses a very old version of Java. There's going to be a point where just even now running the version of Java that RuneScape Classic requires isn't that safe, but it just becomes less and less safe over time. So even from that aspect, it's not good. And like you said, bots, like, that game is full of bots because it's not regulated. Like, it's not a healthy community. It's sad to see it go, but it's completely understandable.
The other thing is, I mean, one of the bugs over there is the crystal chest now is locked open, so you can no longer get Dragonstone. So, the Dragonstone jewelry has gone up phenomenally. I was watching a video where a friend had gone over just to try it out. He wanted to go and kill the KBD over there, which is their highest level boss over there. So a group of them went to do it, and they couldn't fight the lesser demons to get down into the thing. So apparently you've got to kill a lesser demon to get past it. They were unattackable. He had to hop worlds to find a world where he could attack lesser demons. It's just all these type of things that are happening, and there's more and more, and these are just the ones sort of he found in an hour of playing over there. So there's probably a lot more obscure ones that no one really knows about that is causing a lot of issues over there. And, player safety, you can't sort of. I mean, yes, it's a sad thing, and yes, it'd be fantastic to keep going, but I mean, do you really want to compromise your computer, as you said, with that old format of Java, with just no protection over there at all? I mean, it's a sad thing, but it's a necessary, in my opinion.
Here's a question: should they let Classic players transfer their accounts to RuneScape 3?
Levels, yes. Stuff in their bank, no.
Really? I think they should let them transfer stuff in their bank too. I just want to see the rare market crash.
I was going to say you'd see an influx of party hats.
It wouldn't be that many though. There's honestly not. I doubt there's that many party hats left on Classic. I'm sure it would bring in a couple hundred, but I would love it because I think the best thing for the rare market is to upset it. Like, I hated that idea that Jagex had about giving away banks of banned players, but they should absolutely bring old rares back into the game. But
I think any banned player that has those tradable rares on them, I think they should actually be put onto the GE.
I actually think there should be I think that JX should have a JMod once a month sell them, because the thing is, they sell for higher than GE value, and if a JMod would go sell them, they could then delete that gold and get a lot of money out of the game. So I kind of agree with you, but I want to see them get actual max value for them, not max cash.
The problem with doing something like that is you got to then trust that JMod not to be telling all the mates about it and selling it to them.
Yeah, the best way to do it would be if they introduce platinum tokens, introduce like a platinum token vendor, and then like once a year be like, we're adding party hats to the platinum token vendor at current mid value of party hats, and do something like that even.
That I'd be happy with.
Um,
And one per player, one purchase.
Yeah, something like that would be good. MageBit brings up that the fact that there's so much botting on RuneScape Classic means that they shouldn't allow level transfer, which is actually probably the most valid argument I've heard. That actually makes a lot of sense.
No, that does also make a lot of sense.
Instead of transferring them to RuneScape 3, why not transfer them to old school RuneScape?
Sure, I mean, old school already has plenty of bots, so yeah, go for it.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah. I said they've got their own bot problem. You want to add all the rest of them there as well.
Yeah, I would have thought that would have been the obvious option there. So these people want to play RuneScape Classic. That's gone, and they have to accept that. So why not move them over to the second option, which would be old school, instead of the third option, which is RuneScape 3, where they'll have no idea how to use the combat system.
See, but the thing about it, you just turn on legacy combat. You don't need to use the combat system. Honestly,
yeah, that's true.
As someone who came back to the game in 2015, people underestimate how much modern RuneScape still feels like RuneScape. Like, sure, if you come back and you turn on full manual and you're using NIS, it doesn't feel like it at all. But if you come back and you just turn on legacy combat, you turn on legacy interface, game doesn't feel that different at all. And that's why those are still options, because it lets older players feel at home. And like when I first came back to the game, I spent like 3 to 6 months using legacy combat and the legacy interface, because it's what felt like home. And then, after I got used to the game a bit more, then I switched to Revolution, and then I switched off the legacy interface and haven't looked back. Anyways, we shall move on to the TLDW for June, unless other people have some things to say about.
Just one other thing, Chronicle, that closing down as well. There was a game that was never ever given a chance. That type of game is a made for mobile game. It's never released on the mobile platform. Jagex have to be held responsible for the failure of that by not releasing that onto that, in my opinion. It should always have been a game.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also, they didn't release the Mac client until literally, like, the Mac client was one of the last updates they made to that game. I never played it because they said, "Oh, Mac client coming soon," and then the Mac client came out a year later, and then they never released another update essentially. And yeah, that felt very mishandled. I have no idea why. It also felt like they under-advertised it, which I guess is maybe wrong. Like, I know they did pay a lot of streamers to play it and stuff like that, and it just didn't catch on. But it also didn't.
You're right, Hannah. They didn't advertise it. They barely advertised it. That's why it's gone. That's why it's going to be gone in a couple of months.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say they barely advertised. It felt like they did, but obviously, I'm not the market they need to advertise to. So maybe they were advertising it. I just didn't see. I don't know, but it didn't. It felt half-assed. I hope that I'm wrong, but it kind of did.
No, I think you're right. I mean, it's a design for mobile game that never released on mobile. I mean, I'm sorry, you've forced failure onto that project.
Yeah, MageBit and myself played a few games on that Chronicle. When it was announced that it would be shutting down, we went in there and had like a 5-game thing, which is probably available on my YouTube channel somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, especially you see the success of a lot of other card games out there, and like you look at any article that was written about that game, and everyone's like, these are really creative ideas. Like, I think they even if they were advertising and felt like they should have spent more time trying to get it to be something. Like, it wasn't an instant success, so they moved on. But if they had spent like another year, 2 years, they could have built up a grassroots movement around that game and possibly gain traction. It seems like Jagex wants to release something and then have it be instant success, which isn't always the way that works. And you have your moneymaker in RuneScape, so let RuneScape make money while your other games lose money, but try to gain traction. Like, that's the whole point for having something as successful as RuneScape is. You just let that kind of back what you can do with other games. You don't need. Chronicle did not need to make money. It could have lost money for a very long time and been fine, because they already make a ton of money. Anyways, Moving on to the TLDW for June. Did you want to start off with some of these, Fern?
Yeah, I'll talk for as long as I can.
All right, cool.
Game Jam updates. The backlog poll recently finished, and we're going over the full belts.
Spellbook swap.
That's probably
right-click.
the best update for June.
Yeah.
What? Do you know what's coming out in June? How can you say that?
Well, hey, how long have you had the key ring, and how long have you had keys on the key ring, wondering when I'm going to be able to add it to my tool belt?
I don't even think I have the keyring yet to answer your question, so I've had it for
Wait a minute,
exactly
you
0
haven't
days.
done one small favor?
Nope, have not.
I've got
Oh,
the key ring.
my.
That's part of my. That's just part of
My completionist
general...
cape.
No, it's just part of the clue scrolls thing, but it doesn't really bother me. I mean, what I want to add is those other keys that you have to keep going killing something for medium clues. But I mean, it's a good update. To call it the update of the month though, I could see 3 other things in that sort of ninja stuff that I would put above the keyring.
The quality of life update. It might be the best quality of life update. I could see it from that perspective, but definitely not the best update because we got the new divination lore, we got the new Guthix lore coming in, and new Guthix lore is always the best. And we also got Elite Dungeons. Spoilers for what's later in this.
I always find it weird that they're going to add more stuff to Guthix, especially when that quest came around when Guthix says "forget me," and we're still adding more stuff to Guthix.
Look, we're not very good listeners. It's pretty clear.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What was that? I nodded off there.
So the right click, real quick, the right click
no.
spellbook swap thing is actually, I'm guessing that's going to be super big for PVM, because a big part of PVM has become spellbook switching quite often. So I think that's what that update is for. They didn't go into super details on it, but it could be super duper nice for people like David who like to get real sweaty about stuff. Anyways.
Yeah, not me at the moment. Like if I do a farm run and I've swapped my livid farm teleports and I go and fight something and then realise I've got to go back to the bank, get my magic cape out again to swap over. I mean, that right-click spellbook swap is going to be really good. Anyway, moving on, Solak, general information. Players have discovered all of the main mechanics. It's interesting to see how players tackle certain ones, such as using Dominion Mines or Demon Scrolls. None of these methods will be removed or prevented, so they're obviously not bugs, so you are able to use those. We've been going through all the feedback which may not be implemented and welcome statistics. Solak killed 115,000 players before his first death, and by 3 o'clock on June the 5th, Solak has killed 415,000 players all up. Now, I would love to know how many of those were in practice mode and how many were in mode, because if that was all in normal mode, that is a hell of a lot of gold going out of the great game.
Most of them were in practice mode, I think. Like after,
we still lost all the resources.
Like those 115,000, most of those probably weren't in practice mode. But as soon as World First happened, most players switched over to practice mode because if World First isn't available anymore, why waste your money?
Yeah.
I honestly almost feel like you shouldn't release practice mode on a new boss for this reason. There should be like a month before practice mode comes out, just to have that gold sync.
Yeah. Even if it's a 7-day thing.
Yeah, 7 days. Yeah, that would be plenty too.
Yeah. Bug abuse responses. We read that out earlier. So they'll be taking appropriate action. They've already started removing gold from certain people. They took 3 bill off one person who managed to get a crossbow with the bug abuse. It was clearly bug abuse, and they can see if it was an accident or not. So as you said before, there was certain things that they had to do. It wasn't just get the Titan out and click it. Rewards: the purple mushroom unlocks the Blightbound Lasher pet, so it has its own pet. It's very rare, but someone has already got it. Arethidor's Grimoire tooltip is bugged. It said 15%, but it's supposed to be 37%. The item is similar to Enhanced Excalibur, but for prayer. On to others. Bark Shell currently doesn't do anything. The Grove Fights With Us was meant to be said or voiced by Merethiel, but we forgot to remove it. We have ideas for rewards, but they are more suitable for other content. We want to spread everything out across multiple pieces of content rather than just putting everything together. And there is no new info regarding the Reaper title being required for the Completionist Cape at this stage.
Which is weird that they've gone silent on that.
Yeah. And I think what you said before was one thing I'd said earlier myself. It's all well and good taking the Reaper off. The problem is there's going to be those music tracks, because at the end of Yakamaru, there's a music track when you kill him. The same with this one here. There's music tracks after it dies. So just removing Reaper title, it's not going to be as simple as just remove a Reaper title, that's it. So
yeah.
There you go.
What are your thoughts on Reaper and comp? Like, are you a fan of removing it, or
not totally? I would like to see on comp a solo Reaper title, so all the solo bosses, and as part of trim comp, every boss. I'm not a big bosser, and it is hard to find a good tool. I got very, very lucky, but having David as a friend to be able to help me out. There was no way I would ever get a comp cape, because I just don't do group bossing. It is part of the game, I know, but for people who sort of say, oh, it's part of the game, this, that, the other, well, so is the Master Quest cape. So if you want to keep all of the Reaper bosses on there, you should also have the Master Quest cape as part of a completionist cape requirement.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really kind of mixed on it, because, like, if I were designing Runescape, the completionist cape would be cosmetic only.
Purely cosmetic, yeah.
And it would require you to do a million more things. Whereas current comp cape is not actually a comp cape. It's honestly poorly named. It's not a completionist cape. I wish they would call it something else, because it's not actually about completing the game. So, like, by the definition of what the cape currently is, I almost feel like Reaper has to be removed because of how powerful it is as an item. And not just the stat boost, but the quality of life stuff that the comp cape gives you is game changing. And so locking that behind something as hard as Solak totally sucks for people. So I get people's frustration for sure. Anyways,
just a quick reminder: you can actually practice bosses. It's just so you get the hang of it, and when you feel you're confident enough, you can go after the real deal.
Yep. You can. Good luck practicing. Good luck with Solak. Anybody who wants to try it, I have not even entered
I'll
the
watch
arena.
your live stream when you do that.
You will be actually probably seeing that soon, because Thieves and I are going to, in a couple of weeks, we're planning on going just to give it a try and just see how we go. So
go in there with like bronze. Let's see if they QA'd bronze.
Well, let's just do it properly first and
all right.
Practice done. So basically, a month ahead of June, June 4th, obviously was this week. We had the Menethos birthday update. What did you think of that? I like the way they implemented doing the quests to double your rep now.
Yeah, how it always should have been. Honestly.
Exactly. Yep. It's still. I mean, they've locked the gate after the forces bolted in a lot of things, but that's something that should have always been done. I would like to see Pyramid Plunder also get. They've got the Agility Pyramid can now give you reputation. I think Pyramid Plunder should have also given you some reputation, sort of give a bit of life back down there, especially with safe cracking basically taking over from Plunder from once you hit that level 62.
I think there is there's the opinion in the high level community that Menethos was a failed update, but if you talk to any player who doesn't have access to Prif, they love it. And that's exactly what that update was meant to
Yeah.
accomplish. Obviously, there were
Yes,
problems, but that
Mm.
update accomplished what it was meant to. It gave people who don't have access to Prif a place to go and a beautiful place to go. Like it's so much better than Iraq. It's spread out that community, made the desert actually be used by people. Like just think about how useless the desert was a year ago, and for
I
versus
mean, yeah.
now.
I live in the desert now.
I'm
Whoa.
very critical. Oh, hello, Magebit's joined us.
How's it
What are you
going?
doing? Hang on, did we invite you onto your podcast?
Sorry. I didn't,
I mean, I'm very critical. I was very critical of Menafos when it was released, not because of the update. So I would never ever call that a failed update. I thought it was a very good update. What they failed on was the way they implemented the reputation system. To have purely, pretty much cosmetic stuff locked behind everything, and it just looked like one of those collection. The interface and everything. Get to this level, the cape. Get to this level and unlock boots. So get to this level and unlock the body. That was what frustrated me the most.
The rewards.
What it should have done. As they've done it now, where they've got, okay, get this quest done. Now I can see a reason for locking those quests behind the reputation system, because as you do each one, you are going to increase your reputation. So now there is a reason for doing it that way. There was no reason beforehand other than, we just need to do something to give you, to force you to do this.
The rewards were shit. They should have totally honestly, max rep should make you more, way more money from shifting tunes or something. I know they have slight increases in shifting tunes profitability, but they should have made it so that it was double the amount of GP you make, or even triple once you have max rep. Also increases the amount of XP you earn in shifting tombs. It should have completely augmented Menafos experience to max rep in there.
Each city, as you unlocked as you got level 10 in each city, that shifting tomb should have given you an extra 10% XP. Get the second one an extra 20% XP. Get the third one an extra 30% XP or GP or whatever. That's the way they should have done it. And I mean, as I said, I'm very critical of the way it was. I'm still very critical of the reputation system itself, because I love a reputation system. It's just the rewards for it.
It's an update that sucked for high-level players, but was amazing for low-level players. Is basically what it comes down to.
And I still go. I love my wood cutting down there. I cut all my Acadia logs down there. Sell those and trade them in for magic logs. It's. Because they're worth 50 GP more than magic logs. Yet they cut so fast.
One thing I want to mention, this past week when they did the update to Menafos, I actually got in contact with one of the mods regarding the agility pyramid about I think it was level 4 and upwards, how it loads up a different pyramid. That apparently is an engine issue. I always thought it was a graphical issue, but I think it was Mod Edge who got back to me and said he wanted to sort that one out, but it appears that it was an engine issue that's causing the tear in the universe from floor 4 and above.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's a limitation.
Yeah. Once we get rid of Java altogether, they may be able to fix it.
That's going to be a long way off.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing Mage wants to add?
Mage might have gotten called away.
You got called away. Okay, so
somebody play the Jeopardy music while we're waiting for Mage to call.
June 11th, we're going to see the
ring
Memories, which is the new divination update. Again, looks very interesting. We have our money making side of things for high level. Once you hit sort of level 96, where you can go to make all your charge packs up there. But this is a great, just a straight XP boost.
This is going to be great for honestly. This should probably slightly increase the price of energies a bit, because less people will be grinding
exactly
to 99 or even 120 or whatever by doing that. Obviously, a lot of people do dailies and that's how they level up, but this is, I think, going to adjust that a bit. I'm really interested to see how much XP this is, because of how ridiculous thieving XP is, and we all know that divination is pretty crap XP an hour. So I'm really fascinated to see what XP an hour we're going to get from this, and hopefully I like it enough to get 99 finally.
Well, they said it's going to be above normal training, but not quite as good as the Garthixian caches. But obviously, you're going to be able to do this constantly, where Garthixian caches every 3 hours, and it's 10 minutes.
Should be better than Garthixian caches. Come on now, Jagex.
Yeah.
And Modshot is going to be showing off the Hall of Memories when he does his upcoming teaser preview on for Monday's thing in about half an hour.
Very good.
Awesome.
Yeah. The next one, the event calendar. Now I know Mage loves calendars, so how about you?
Yeah, I'm excited for a calendar.
Now this one, obviously, it's not the event calendar as we open it up each day and get a prize. This is going to be things like when they have mass bossing events, mod events that they put on. You can load up, the different, what are they called? Where you do the mini games, mini game spotlight things. You can have popped onto this. So interesting idea. Probably not something it's going to bother me too much.
My biggest problem with it is the fact that it's not allowed to be used by clans. The biggest reason we need an in-game calendar is for stuff like clan events, and they won't let us use it, and that frustrates me.
Yeah, poor Mage, you can't put in RuneScape Weekly on the calendar every Friday.
I mean, yeah, that would be a nice feature.
We know you would, Mage.
Well, it would be because we put it on there and say, okay, we're doing a lot. We're going to be live this week, and we can let our clanmates know.
Just being able to coordinate events because people are in different time zones, and I can't guarantee I'm going to be able to touch every single person with the message. It would be nice to have an ability to just let's see what's on the roster, and you can just figure that out and not have to worry about is somebody on to tell me.
Yep, exactly, 100%. I think the calendar has a very niche use right now. I think the main reason they did it right here. Events such as boss matches, live streams, news posts, seasonal events, treasure hunter promotions, and mod events, etc. will be on the calendar.
Yeah. That's the only reason why they worked on it now.
So the calendar will flash every time there's a new treasure hunter event, and it won't stop flashing until you click on it and check out the new promo.
Probably something like that.
And everyone can thank DX for that, for complaining about having that one little box pop up.
Speaking of, while we're on the topic of bashing Treasure Hunter, did anyone notice their new ad for double keys didn't even have a "Don't show me this again" option?
Yeah, I saw that, and I was
I know Reddit noticed that
in the bloody Discord.
Well, see, I think the whole reason they removed it is because people never understood that option. Don't show me this again was only about. Don't show me this again was only about that specific promo. People like DX thought it was about any promo ever. It was never meant to be that, and so I think they removed it because people never understood what it was.
You just got to add a couple extra words.
You saw it on your first login.
You got to idiot-proof it.
And then you never saw it again. So I think the way they've done it is, I mean, it's
fine with me. I don't care. I really just don't care. It's not hard for me to just click right past it.
We were just bashing Treasure Hunter.
Yeah. But as I said, I mean, it's the same as it's a sale that they've got on. Would you expect Apple to have a 20% off sale but not put anything up in?
If it's going on 5 days a week, is it a sale?
They don't send me a text message when they have a sale, like on their website.
Also, Apple doesn't have a sale 5 days a week. My biggest
issue. This is their shop. Okay,
well, Apple's never on sale.
My local coffee shop, every time I walk past there, they've got the big board out the front saying, buy a cake and get a free coffee, and that type of thing.
No,
now, this is their shop.
Show me this again.
This is their So what Oh no, I don't want to see that.
Is
anymore,
the
so
IRL version of Is the IRL version of "Don't show me this again" you kicking over that sign?
Pretty much, exactly.
No, see, I think that's
stealing the sign and dumping it.
I think that's a bit of a false equivalency. I think it's more like you go into a coffee shop, walk up to the barista, and he holds up a picture, and says, "Hey, check this out," and that's where
they won't talk to you until you hit it out of their hands.
Yeah, they won't talk to you until you remove it. Yeah, exactly.
You have to physically push the option there. Don't tell me this again.
I mean, because here we have it. They have this big chalkboard out the front, and then when you go inside, it's also sitting, where you order. They've got the big ad right there as well. So I mean, and this year it's there once. I click out of it, and I never see it again. It's not like I'm seeing it every time I log in.
No,
I mean, there the first day for the week, and that was it.
Yeah, I saw it a few times day one, and that's it.
Yeah, they definitely don't bother me that much. Partially because I think I've literally only ever gotten one of them, but also they are relatively easy to close. But I mean, I understand some people's frustration with Treasure Hunter. It's become very pervasive now. The biggest issue is that it's not even like the specials and the sales. Like they don't feel like they're specials because they just happen all the time now. And I think that's people's biggest problem is. Like before, our biggest problem was Treasure Hunter exists. Now our biggest problem is Treasure Hunter never stops.
It's not about waiting for a new promotion anymore. It's about predicting the promotion cycle. Like that's literally what it's become.
You know what I do? I go like to World 2 or something and grab a few friends of mine or whatever. We use our ring of trees. We use our ring of trees and set it up right in front of bloody Solomon's caravan in bloody Varric so no one can see the bloody.
You don't want to get pulled over with ring of trees. Still illegal in Australia.
Why do you hate Solomon's? Solomon's is good, not bad.
If I was one of the J mods, I would actually just ban your accounts for doing that. Anyway,
isn't that how?
It's a good example of why Pern's not a J mod, folks.
I was gonna say, isn't that how one of them? Isn't that how Silent Core got banned or whatever his name was? Lost his J mod abilities. I mean, he didn't get banned. He just lost his J mod abilities. Anyway, sorry. I died.
Anyway, June 25th is the Elite Dungeons Temple of Amanishi. And we do know there's going to be two. There's going to be story mode and also a proper gameplay mode. Now, this might force Magebit to get his 120 Dungeoneering.
Tentatively super hyped for this update. If this is as fun as it looks, and the bosses are, around like God Wars level 2 difficulty and maybe slightly higher, this could be a lot of fun.
Yeah. That's where they said it's going to be. Yeah, so this is similar to other MMO PvP systems where there are multiple bosses within the dungeon. It's like this is actually raids.
Yeah, this is real raids.
This is a real raid. Basically, this is a real raid.
Dungeons award combat XP, gold, and Dungeoneering XP tokens. Only mini bosses and regular bosses will give Dungeoneering tokens. Normal mobs will provide XP on death. PVM drop tables won't have raw resources, but instead are replaced with new alchable and disassemblable items. Plate bodies and armors won't be dropped, but instead brand new items. These items will have the same disassembly drop table as gizmos, basically almost all components. This is amazing. Thank you, JX, for finally doing this. And also, one of the best things about Solak is the drop table is not full of OP skilling stuff. It just has some skilling stuff on there, but it's not completely fucking broken, and it's glorious. These are finally, we're actually seeing them actually take steps to not drop skilling supplies from the
one
game.
Thing we ask is, again, make them untradeable.
Yes, please do it. Groups have to be made by the grouping system. That's the worst part of this update.
That's Major's favorite part of the update.
Normal instances couldn't be done without a lot of extra work. Update schedule. So as everyone knows, there are 3 elite dungeons planned, and they're going to see how we like them and possibly do more. I really hope that these go well because sounds like some great content and great like mid-ish level PVM content. Not super sweaty, but should be good money makers.
But it also seems like they were generous with the reward space as well, which is like I'm happy about. Even though if it's like accessible combat with decent like payoff.
So the Elite Dungeon 1 is supposed to be June 25th. Elite Dungeon 2 is supposed to be July 23rd, which is amazingly fast. And then untalked about skilling update in October. I'm guessing that I guess they would probably tell us it was the Mine and Smithing rework, but that feels like the Mine and Smithing rework.
I think it's going to be player-owned farms because they've been talking about player-owned farms for quite some time.
But
if it's
weird.
Not player-owned farms, I'm going to have a really depressed fall.
It's weird that they didn't tell us that, right? They just said skilling update. Like, why wouldn't they tell us what?
Maybe it's going to be whatever skilling update is ready.
Maybe that's possible. Yeah, I don't know if you follow Mod Raven on Twitter, but watching him like freak out about player-owned farms is kind of funny. He apparently keeps breaking the ability to feed the animals all the time, and he's just gotten to the point where he's like, "Screw it, you can't just let them die." It's great.
That's definitely Mod Raven, all right. That's him in character.
I'm really glad that he's working on that project because, like, player-owned farms has the ability to be stupid and boring like Farmville, or amazingly fun and alive like Harvest Moon or Stardew Valley. And he's the type of person to give it spirit. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I really like his
perfect-
attitude towards things.
He's the perfect guy for that update, 100%.
I know what he should do. He should take his inspiration from Tamagotchi. You know, if you overfeed the
Hell
animal, you
yeah.
should kill them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's how I listen. I learned a very, very harsh lesson in like 4th grade. I had my Tamagotchi alive for like 2 years with the help of my mother, who took care of him while I was at school. Like 2 years from the same stupid Tamagotchi. And one day I'm sitting in the car. This moment is burned in my memory for all of time. I'm 30 years old and I still remember this from like 28 years ago. Not really, but whatever. Point being, all I did was punish it like 3 times in a row, and it died. I was devastated. I learned a lesson. I learned a lesson about corporal punishment that day. It changed.
Don't kick the dog too many times.
Yeah, or yeah, basically, there's a punishment has a limit. Anyway, this is why we need simulations.
Next time, use a newspaper.
Simulations allow us to learn these lessons in an arena where there is no potential for actual damage.
Yeah. And so the 3rd Elite Dungeon is going to come out sometime in December, is the plan. New combat equipment, Serenic Armor and Tier 92 Tectonic. They have graphically updated the original sets as well as making the new sets. The Tier 92 sets will require Tier 90 in order to keep the content relevant. That's the only good part of this. Tier 92 sets will function similar to Tier 90. Degraded Dust, upgrading keeps them augmented. Upgrading keeps augmentation, perks, item XP, and then dies. If you use all the charges up in one piece, you need to use a new piece to recharge it. I hate this so much. The fact that we are getting Tier 92 armor brought into the game before the Mine and Smithing rework feels like a slap in the face to me. Like, I love Elite Dungeons so much, but the fact that, and I also love the fact that they're getting a really great reward. Like, I really do, but the fact that it's this reward, it hurts so much and frustrates me so much that we have been waiting for a very long time for the Mine and Smithing rework. And
is it because of the fact that it comes out before mining and smithing, or is it because of the fact that you think these items should be craftable by players and not dropped?
Both, honestly. Okay. I would feel way less bad if it was coming out after the Mine and Smithing rework, though. The fact that it's coming out before, I think, is the biggest thing. But also, I know that Mine and Smithing is going to make melee armor, which melee armor is the least valuable armor in the game, and so therefore has the least chance to actually make money for skillers, especially with magic.
Yeah, if we could make magic armor, imagine that.
Yeah, exactly. I honestly think what they should have done is made all Tier 92 plus armor made by Mine and Smithing. Magic armor, ranged armor, and melee armor. Make it all makeable by players. Every set.
I agree with they should all be made by players.
And you can move them out of, like, I know that crafting used to be the place to find armor sets. I don't think it has to be anymore. Like, worry about a crafting rework later. It would have been way healthier to just put these 3 armor sets in with the Mine and Smithing rework. It would have made that rework way more valuable. I am really afraid. I am really truly afraid that the Mine and Smithing rework is going to come out. It's not going to be a moneymaker. Jagex is going to say, well, we tried to make a skill.
Reworks failed.
Yep, we tried to make a skill that makes money, and it's impossible. See you later. And, like, I already know, put this on the record, I will say this, I've probably said it before, if there's not a OP set effect with Tier 92 melee armor, it will be dead on arrival. Like, the whole reason Tier 92 weapons are worth so much is accuracy. Like, it increases your accuracy to have a Tier 92 weapon. Armor does not increase your accuracy, therefore it's not near as important to have. And so it's probably going to fail.
pretty sure they have plans for set effects. I don't think they've talked about the set effects in particular, but if I remember from reading the document correctly, they planned on having full set effects. I could be wrong, and that could be a previous iteration of the document I'm thinking of. That's the problem, is this has gone through like 800 revisions, so it's hard to keep facts straight at this point, but I think that they have that in mind. At least I kind of hope so, because I agree that this armor will probably not be used at all if it doesn't have some niche use or like OP situation that it's, you know, useful in.
And it can't be, I don't think it can be niche. It has to have a huge use in the game. It has to be a huge DPS increase, like a 10% DPS increase, maybe 5-10%, something like that, to make it worth it. But maybe you're right. Maybe they know this. It's just when they talk about it, they seem to not mention this stuff enough, so it worries me. But I really hope that they do know that. But yeah.
You got to talk to the right person, and the only right person to really talk to is unfortunately Mod Jack, and he's hard. He's like never on the live. Like, I think I've seen him on the live stream maybe twice, and that's like the one time that I feel like I'm thinking of. But yeah, it's hard to know at this point. There's a crazy thread on the RuneScape official forums that's like nearing like max capacity that goes just in detail, like Mod Jack just going back and forth with players about, you know, basically how to make it viable. It's a really interesting read if you have the time, which would probably suck up an entire evening to go through, but it's really interesting because you can kind of see and watch the discourse between the players and Mod Jack basically, and see them kind of the tug of war going on.
I really hope I'm proven wrong. And I mean, like, I'm super stoked for Elite Dungeons, but I'm also hurt at the same time because I want them to be good, but I'm frustrated that this is what they decided would make them good.
The rewards would be, yeah.
Because they could have done something like a drop the tier 92 whip in one and drop like a tier 92 halberd in the other, you know, stuff like that.
I'm all for anything that can bring the abyssal whip back into fashion.
Me too.
Because I'm approaching Prestige 2 on abyssal demons, so I got a lot of abyssal whips in the bank.
Oh, I'm just my current look in RuneScape is
I love demons.
Dragon chain armor, the Abby Maul, and an Abby whip. I'm literally running around like it's 2007.
Yeah, did you remember you can dye the whip different colors? I forgot about that.
No, when did they add that?
I think you could do that with loyalty points, can't you?
I forget what it's. I think you used Barbarian Assault points. That was added in like 2010, I want to say, around the time that Barbarian Assault was extremely popular.
So that would have been after I quit, so I didn't even know that was
because whips were the thing. It was, you know, you had your Dragon Fire Shield and a whip, and people were like, "We need Fashionscape," but it's 2010, and the JMods were like, "We're gonna let you color your whips," and everyone was like, "Hell yeah!"
And it was pre-treasure hunters, so therefore,
yeah. So it actually was a mini game reward or something.
Imagine that, cosmetics from minigames. What a novel idea.
What is this, 2001? Oh, 114 attack.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right.
Congrats.
So,
I'm coming for you, Pern.
Primary item drop themes. Elite Dungeons will drop, or Elite Dungeon 1 will drop Ammunition Scales. Placeholder name, that will create the Serenic Helm and Legs. Elite Dungeon 2 will drop Draconic Energy, which will create the Tectonic Helm and Legs. Elite Dungeon 3 will drop materials to create the chest for both Tectonic and Serenic. I like how they spread those out. I think that's very good, despite my issues with this armor being here. It seems like they did a good job balancing out the drops. Materials are dropped from the final boss and combined with materials from the other two dungeons for the chest pieces, apparently. Tier 92 Malevolent will not be touched, as Masterwork armor will take that place. They say for the foreseeable future. So if Masterwork fails, Malevolent, here we come, I guess. I don't know. Elite Dungeon 1 will have a boss pet. Elite Dungeon 2 will have one boss pet and 1 to 2 other pets. Dragon rework. Remodeling the dragons to make a dragon kit so we can create dragons out of building blocks. First and third bosses in the Elite Dungeon 2 use the dragon kit and thus can be used for other dragons. We will be reworking all dragons at some point, but not necessarily by the release date of Elite Dungeon 2.
This makes me want a quest where you can build your own dragon.
Yeah, this goes...
Lego Dragonscape, here we come.
This goes back to when they were doing the art special that I did a little while ago, the initial build of these things takes a lot of resources, but they're actually creating these blocks now, so they can just go bang and just do a few little changes, and it's not going to take them anywhere near as long to do. Sort
it's going to allow them to churn out content.
So this has been a theme of like the past 6 months. Elite Dungeons or even this, where it's like they're creating a framework to make dungeons quickly, and the same thing with dragons. And they haven't said this, but I think a lot of this is enabled with the new tools they're making with NXT. Moving away from the old RuneTech tools and making modern tools is allowing them to make content quicker. Like the fact that we're gonna see 3 Elite Dungeons in like 6 months, it's just ridiculous.
That says something right there. Yeah. I would love to if they could just churn out like a new Elite Dungeon every like 6 months after this, like that would be amazing if they had this like framework down. But and the same thing goes for bottle quests. Like you have this framework for bottling, little using bottle quest graphics and stuff. Like they should do that so much more than they're currently doing it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that maybe a new framework for quests will be a thing that they make at some point. Because it would be nice to get back to some short, pithy quests. I mean, that'd be great to see. I think part of the problem with quests right now is they don't want to put they care so much about lore, and I get it because the lore in this game is so damn good. But like, it's okay to make non-meaningful quests, guys. Just do it.
They used to. I mean, there's plenty of quests that I would consider like literal non sequitur quests. Like they are the embodiment of. There's sheep shearer and stuff like that, and I'm trying to think of some more off the top of my head, but there's tons of little quests that don't really relate to the main story arc or lore at all. And bringing home the bacon, that's its own little thing. It kind of brings in pigs into RuneScape, but
greatest quest ever.
It doesn't contribute anything to the actual story of the game. It's just its own little thing. I want to see more stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know Mod Osborne and Mod Market are good at quests like that. So,
all right. Anyway. So next, we will be learning who Krenon is. I don't even know who that's referencing, but cool. Slayer XP and Slayer contracts will work together while in the Elite Dungeons. That's a pretty cool thing. The Dungeoneering outfit does not apply to the new reward shop, so I guess they mean the boost or something. I don't even sure exactly what that means. The Elite Dungeoneering outfit may come out with the 3rd dungeon, but that is not guaranteed. Timed high scores won't be available on release, but they may be put in with Elite Dungeon 3. Players can obtain skilling and combat pets while inside the dungeon. That's also great.
Beautiful.
Iron Man can do it group or solo. And I guess we talked about this before, but this is honestly like one of the great things JX has been doing is diversifying skilling, and this is honestly the first update that makes Dungeoneering an actual skill. Like, imagine that. Soon be able to call it an actual skill that has multiple training methods. And I mean, Shattered Tombs kind of, but I think the Dungeoneering XP there is complete garbage, whereas this is actually meant to be good XP. Gold Premier Club members are going to get a benefit on release, of course. Dungeoneering rates are going to be around 300k an hour, with around 30k an hour for story mode. Story mode exists for players who aren't great at combat but want to see the lore. That's a great idea. Checkpoint system in both regular and story mode. Each barrier open will remain open. Once you've opened the doors, you can teleport to those places. Rewards shop. Obtain ammunition scales throughout the dungeon. You need 100 to upgrade the armor. Spend Dungeoneering tokens to get the following rewards. New invention blueprint that's enhanced notepaper. Basically an untradeable version of magic notepaper. Consumable drop enhancer that allows you to get some lottery drops at the regular rate. Only applies to the Elite Dungeon. For example, get ceramic scales, clues, etc. from trash mobs. That's a pretty cool idea to have as a kind of cyclical thing. Get better drops if you spend points on that stuff. That's cool. Dungeons can be completed with 1 to 3 players. Dungeons completion time varies and depends on the player's skill. It's estimated that it'll take a solo player 30 to 60 minutes and a duo player 20 to 40 minutes, and a trio has reached the final boss in less than 10 minutes, but that was Calci and friends, so not really realistic for most people. There will be comp trim and master questcape final boss, insane final boss requirements. There will be a collection log that provides a cyan color title named Acolyte of Siryu. There will be a gold broadcast for how many times players were killed and Siryu was defeated. Elite Dungeon.
Now,
go ahead.
Before we go on, I just want to go back to that new invention blueprint for enchanted note paper. Fantastic idea. This is, again, something I sort of had down as one of my thought bubbles a while ago. What I do hope that for this, we are going to be using magic logs as a secondary ingredient for it to try and bring back.
I would love to see the value of magic logs rise.
Yeah.
You mean
So,
like
yeah,
fletch the logs in the note paper?
Yeah, well, no, basically when you do
degree.
it, with some of them you have to have sort of different things in your inventory. So if you want to make note paper, each note paper will cost you one.
I'd also love to see
components and a
harmonic
magic
dust.
log. Yeah.
Like magic logs plus harmonic dust. Like you're cutting the paper and then you're
Ooh, I like
sprinkling it
that.
in harmonic dust, and now it's magic note paper.
I
That'd be
like that
interesting.
combination.
Maybe,
they made.
maybe
I
another
like it.
use for coal. You use the coal as like the writing on it. I don't know. I'm
See,
getting a
I
little
had
crazy here.
my idea was it was actually going to be a crafting update
I
where
love them.
we had to sort of you had to sort of mulch the magic paper, also the magic log, and then you had to use some runes to craft it into the actual paper. But this way, moving into invention, I don't mind, but I do want to see it have a cost of a magic log per note paper to try and just give some value back to that magic logs again.
Yeah, I mean, I think people give Jagex a lot of shit Treasure Hunter and saying they haven't changed anything, but over the past 2 years, we have seen a lot of the most OP Treasure Hunter drops, come into the game. Obviously, Treasure Hunter is way more XP focused, and some people hate that. And I don't know. To me, the XP only events, like, they do suck as far as inflating the high scores, but that battle's already kind of lost. Whereas like stuff like having the spring cleaner attainable in game, or magic note paper, or elite outfits, like those are big fundamental changes to how Treasure Hunter used to work that I think show a very good health of the game, and people never think about that. When they complain about Treasure Hunter, it's the fact that there have been improvements. Maybe not in the ways everybody wanted them to be, but in my opinion, stuff like this is a major improvement over the way things used to be.
Some people won't acknowledge those as improvements, and thusly will continue to say that there's been no improvements. But I think that those are definitely improvements. They may not be as large as everyone has an ideal, I'm sure, and I think my ideal would be no Treasure Hunter, but I know that's probably not going to happen. So I mean, the compromise that I think that they have been kind of working with us with, I think, has been pretty fair.
Yeah, they've been moving to more. Yeah, I don't know. No Treasure Hunter would be amazing for sure, but it's not the world we live in yet.
But this next dungeon is the one that sort of has me most excited.
Yeah, so this one is located in one of the following locations: the Infernus, the Wilderness, Kessie, or the Brimhaven Volcano. Please make it the Brimhaven Volcano. That's where I want it to be.
Me too.
In the Wilderness would be real shitty.
I thought
honestly.
anyway. Infernus, I don't understand. Kessie, I sort of see, but we've already got our rune dragons there. I think Brimhaven Volcano bringing again old content back up to relevance and giving us a reason.
I'd also like to see Infernus.
It also makes the most sense because this is about the what's his name, the god. I can't think of his name, but it's about the god that you
what kind of god
learn about in the Brimhaven Volcano.
Yeah, so whatever his name is.
The volcano god?
I can't think of his name, but they leaked who this dungeon was going to be about in the last stream. They don't mention it here, but they have kind of leaked who this is about. It's like it's one of the bosses related to the whatever the name of the race is that lives in the volcano. I can't think of their name.
The Tsar.
Yeah, it's related to. Yeah, it's related to those people down in there that you free and fight and whatnot. So putting it in there to me would make the most sense. And like you said, give it some use. Remember that place was awesome. Obviously, I'm a big fan of making old places useful again. It will be
wrong with that.
one big dungeon with no doors / teleports, so players can't tank and run through everything. Designed based on Elite Dungeon 1 playtests.
Now, most important thing, the very next 2 words out of your mouth.
What content? Lava strike worms, dragons, and other creatures will
Happy
appear.
escaping.
Lava
strike
strike words.
was outside of the wilderness.
Exactly.
Oh, I see.
That's why I'm most excited about this.
I see. I understand. We've upgraded the lava and dragon graphics for the dungeon, and yeah, that's what we know about Elite Dungeons so far. They sound mostly great. I wish that they weren't listening to super high level player feedback, because I don't think people like Couchy's awesome at the game. I don't think he's the best person to make decisions about the next Elite Dungeon, but that's the choice they decided to make. I think
that's what sort of got me as well. It's like on player feedback where you've had a couple, Omid, Couchy, and Sadden in there who are really elite. What about Mage Bit, Hannah, and DX? You know, what do you guys want?
Can it be done in dragon armor?
they're awesome guys, but you can't listen to like the top 1% of your community for everything. And I mean, I think Jagex in general listens to the community too much, but also they listen to the best players too much. You need to listen to a wide variety of voices.
Just listen to this podcast.
More
listen to
RuneScape
Weekly, Jagex.
DX brings up a fair point. We had to produce more shows in order for them to listen. But
there you go.
That being said,
that is coming.
Yeah, we're trying. If anyone
it gets hectic sometimes.
If anyone wants an old demented lady, let me know. I'll sell you real cheap.
You'd actually pay for it.
Reported for real world trading.
But yeah, the environment.
Tempted to make a selling girlfriend joke there. Selling girlfriend, selling grandma 10K.
Oh, 10K that's generous.
The elite, the concept art that they've got looks really nice.
Yeah, I'm excited and frustrated with these. Hopefully they deliver. Obviously, this is a update aimed at like my combat level, so I'll probably be grinding the crap out of these with hopefully MageBit, the new PVM Pro.
I am doing pretty decent.
I
mean, most of what I've been killing are abyssal demons, but that being said, it's I'm looking forward to these dungeons. Like I really want I want a challenge that is a little more challenging than like avoiding the poop at Vindicta, but a little less challenging than trying to navigate Araxes mechanics in the last phase. And I think this is probably going to be that sweet spot.
This week I got a post I never thought I'd get from you, and I quote, "I've been throwing around learning Duo Solak."
It's true, yeah.
I can't believe you said that.
It seems like it's a really well done boss, and it also seems like a boss that it's all about learning the mechanics. It's not about doing enough DPS. It's more about like you can keep going as long as you are satisfying the mechanical portion of the fight. Whereas in a fight like Virago, like if you're not doing enough damage, it just gets perpetually harder because of that. So like this seems like a boss, and also like where Rax, like you bring 2 people into Rax and it like doubles the difficulty of the fight and gives you no extra reward for it basically. Like that also just doesn't seem like a good payoff for like why would I waste my time doing that? So like this boss seems like the first boss that has a duo mode that seems properly balanced. Has rewards that are set for the difficulty, is based off of mechanics and not just damage spam. It just seems well done.
Duo P12 racks, some of the most fun I've ever had in the game. Honestly, it's obviously I was with David, so I was being carried hardcore, but it's super fun.
Do you think you would duo racks with me?
I would. I think I have to get better at racks again because it requires being like,
because you'd be carrying me a tiny bit.
Fast.
My damage would probably be there, but like I probably I'd be an idiot. Probably.
I mean, we could definitely do it. We could do it even now. It just wouldn't be efficient. But I'm also not an efficiency RuneScape player, so I don't even give a shit. I play the game for fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd absolutely do it.
Oh, I want to talk about my next skilling challenge while I have it fresh on my mind. So I've discovered that Abyssal Demons really like to draw pure essence, right? So I need 120 rune crafting, and I figure I could just get all of my pure essence from here, save that little bit of money that would cost me to buy I think it's 2.9 million rune essence to make nats all the way to 120. I could just get the 2.9 million rune essence here and save, what is that? 2.9 million times what, like 400 each? What happens? Do soul runes?
Do soul runes, more XP, less, a little bit more AFK.
All right, maybe I'll do soul runes then. The point being, it's like, I don't know how many soul runes I'd need though, but let's just say it's like half of that then maybe. But like, let's say I get like 1.5 million times, I don't know, what is it, like 400 and something for, I'll save like half a billion gold, maybe a little bit more, by just collecting it all here. And I'm already here anyway to train my combat skills to.
I've got over 1 million.
Oh, you're going for 120 combat skills now, huh?
Yeah, that's my current goal, is 120 combat skills.
Do you have the Abyssal Demon mask?
I do. I'm not wearing it though. I should be.
Well, you should force a daily Slayer task with it too.
I should, yeah. That would make sense. Make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'm really good at hyper focusing on an activity. That's why I have such a hard time with Slayer and Dungeoneering. Slayer keeps knocking you around to different places, and I say it's because I don't like being told what to kill. But the truth is, I have a hard time being bonked around and changing loadouts. I get distracted, and then it like confuses me, throws me off, messes with my mojo. So like when I'm training combat, and I can just literally just sit at Abyssal Demons for like forever.
Well, that's why it's a perfect time for you to use the mask, because you could get like Abyssal Demons are very good Slayer XP. You do that while you're getting 120, you'll get super close. I mean, you probably won't. You're already pretty close to 120 Slayer. You'll get even further along.
Yeah, I should do that though. I definitely should. I just have to remember to do it. Make it part of my daily.
Yeah, but I'm a similar way where I don't like. I mean, for me, it is being told what to kill, but also having to change up. But I just like being able to pick something and grind on it. I'm very similar.
Yeah, I'm looking at these sexy Hall of Memories. It looks pretty. I got the stream on mute, so I got no idea what they're talking about, but it looks cool.
Well, that wraps
I've got
up.
An image coming in.
That wraps up all the topics for today. So I think we're gonna end the show here, unless people have something else they would like to discuss.
I see no one was impressed by my idea to use my own rune essence, so I will reconsider that idea.
Why? I would do it.
Yeah, we just didn't respond to it, but I mean, I like the fact that you collect your own resources sometimes. Obviously, it's not going to be efficient, but once again, who the hell cares?
No, not. No, it's just like just a challenge.
Yeah.
If you're doing that many of the Abbey Demons, you'll get that rune essence.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna get the rune essence anyway.
I've got over 1 mil in my bank already.
Efficiency in RuneScape makes no sense, because the most efficient way to train skills in RuneScape is kill Telos and then buy 120s. Like that's the most efficient way.
The most efficient way to do anything in RuneScape is Telos. Is through Telos. Anything at all.
Yeah, or real world money. Just buy it.
They broke the game with Telos money.
They did. They should really. They only nerf skilling methods that make money, but they should really nerf Telos as far as how much money he makes.
Because of Telos, like party hats, it's making it impossible for me to get my yellow party hat back. I'll get there, but holy crap!
20 mil at it.
Yeah. Like that's insane. I know a blue is like 20 plus. I don't know exactly.
Wait,
where
what'd
it
you
is,
say, Pern?
I think Teller shouldn't make any more than 15 an hour, and even.
I mean, Rax at the high level makes like 25 mil an hour if you're really good
Which
at
is
it,
still too
supposedly.
high. Yeah.
So I don't know that it should be that low, but it should definitely be.
Yeah, but
lower.
I don't agree with Max being that high either. But yeah,
That gives me
so,
hope.
At least half it, you know.
That actually gives me hope to know that Rax is still 25 million an hour. Because like now that I'm feeling like I could maybe eventually do Rax, because like maybe that I can actually.
That's
have
my
part of
understanding
it.
if you're like super duper good at it, but.
Well, maybe I can get super duper
No, I'm
good
not
at
saying
it.
you can't. I am just walking back my statement in case I am
I know.
wrong and I don't want to get yelled at
That's what
by
you know
the
what?
podcast
Right.
audience. But I believe
That's fair.
people say it's still around 25 mil an hour if
I just hear everyone always complaining about their Rax loot. That's just why I never really kind of bothered getting into it, is because everyone I talk to is like, hey, these Rax, it's always worse. It's always getting worse, and I never make any money.
Yeah, but I mean that's the like confirmation bias, or like what you can see bias. Like you know, you only feel good about a boss when you've just gotten a good drop. When it's been like 5 hours since you had a good drop, it's the worst thing ever. But yeah.
Have we touched upon bond prices at all?
Nope.
They went up.
Yeah, those are going up. As expected, I would assume.
Yeah.
It's been 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, one price rise every 3 years, I think, is really good.
Sucks for me because I use bonds to pay for the game, and it's getting.
That's mainly where I was going.
insane.
Was like, I wonder what membership is gonna like cost in GP first, and are they gonna raise the amount of bonds like that we're gonna need? Because this year is I'm considering. I'm on the fence about maybe doing membership with bonds. How many was it last year to get membership with bonds?
18.
20.
20?
It was 18.
Pretty sure it was 20.
Maybe it was 20.
I think it was 20. Because I thought it was 24 for some stupid reason.
It was 25 3 years ago, and then when they reduced the cost, they reduced the bond cost by 5.
Yeah, Jim.
But yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what Premier Club's gonna be like this year. I imagine the price is gonna go up slightly. So
that's why I was
going up by like one bond would make some sense.
That's what I was kind of thinking too. Is might go up by like one bond, but that's exactly why I'm like maybe this year is the year to do it with bonds. If Premier Club's going to be like $125 or something. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Make a platinum version where we can also have rune metrics thrown in it at the same time.
That would also be nice. Yeah, bundle them together in some way, because I would also not have to worry about rune metrics. Although it's not that hard to remember to grab a bond every 2 months, but it's still, I'd rather not.
Having to make 3 bonds a month, oh man. I need to learn Rax because that would, or not Rax. I need to learn Telos because that would just be like 1 hour at Telos, apparently. But when not doing Telos, having to make 3 bonds a month just
Abbey
sucks.
Demons is like 2 bonds a day. If you have no life, asterisk.
Isn't Abbey Demons like 5 mil an hour? 3 to 5 mil an hour? I don't remember.
It's 2.5 to 5.
Depending on
if you're paying attention and picking up all the drops, which I am, then you'll make like probably about 3 to 4. It's about my average. I make about at Abbey Demons. I make between 15 and 30 million gold a day, depending upon my repair costs. Like, is it a repair day, or do I need certain supplies? Yada yada yada. But most of the time, even when I have to buy or recharge my suit, I still even manage to like break even or make like 10 mil that day.
I'm not sure how much bonds will go up long term. Like I
think we're gonna see them settle at around 17.
I think they're obviously gonna go over 20 mil for Premier Club, like 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. They'll settle around 17. They'll probably go down to like 14 and 15 mil sometimes. Like I don't think
during like the springtime probably I would say during the fall. That wholly depends on what they do for double XP weekend. Like if they throw in some crazy promos, you might see bond prices shoot up just because people doing Telos are going to be buying bonds with all that money.
Yeah.
So they can, trade in on Prismania Plus, or it's Circle Jerk XP time. Everyone gets a load.
Remember when you could tell when like Vic the Trader was coming because 2 weeks before there would be a Prismania event, and now they just have the Prismania event while Vic is in the game. What a change.
Remember? Yeah, that's true.
3 weeks this time too.
Yeah. This is the longest Vic has been in the game.
Mm.
Things they definitely just don't seem to care too much about like XP, but this game's also 17 and a half years old, and if we ever want to see new players come into the game
already.
What?
So raise the levels to 120 already.
I would love to see that too. I'm already going for it.
Me personally, I would rather see Treasure Hunter become like just gambling for XP, like, because it's so expensive to actually do. Like, some people don't realize. People complain about Treasure Hunter XP events, but like, it's actually not cheap to do it. Like, what it costs a friend 10,000 to max or whatever.
It's not cheap.
It's 15,500.
I'm not complaining that it's cheap. I'm complaining about the predatory nature of getting involved and not being able to stop using it because you feel like you need to.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, to me, like, giving people straight up XP is the least predatory way to have people gamble. It's still predatory for sure, but when you do something like Prismania, you're not chasing like a purple rarity, right? You just want XP.
Yeah.
So you feel good no matter what you win.
That's very true.
And so therefore, to me, it's actually healthier. And I understand, like, I don't want XP to be given away in the game, but it's actually not as unhealthy as some people, or as egregious as some people act like it is, in my opinion. Like,
it is definitely less psychologically manipulative. It is also basically it's like, hey, it is what it is. This is basically a dopamine box, and we're just gonna, it is what it is.
I just wish they just removed the actual lamps and put it all in stars, so you don't get straight.
I also agree with that. I like bonus XP.
Bonus. So at least you still have to go and train skill in some way.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. If Treasure Hunter was literally gamble for bonus XP, I would totally be okay with that. Not gonna lie. Not totally. I would mostly be okay with that. I still hate microtransactions, but
can never completely be okay with it. It's just like, we're trying to find some compromise.
Yeah, it's better than where we are.
Yeah, it's baby steps.
Someday. And I feel like that's where JX has kind of been moving, because we've seen way more and more XP promotions. The problem is the community will complain no matter what. Like they're like, make Treasure Hunter better, so they do, like we were talking about earlier, they add more Treasure Hunters exclusive stuff to the game, and the community is like, Treasure Hunter's gotten worse. And it's like, but it hasn't it's gotten different. Like, they have, contrary to popular belief, Treasure Hunter has evolved over the past 6 months even as to how it's operated. It's not as predatory. Like, when's the last time they had a super predatory Treasure Hunter event? Like, there was one a couple months ago, but we used to get one of those like every month. One of those events that like just gave you a trickle of currency in game, but to actually get anything, you had to spend a ton of money. I mean, I guess we have that going on with the gears now, whatever they're called, the cogs. But that's not like,
I don't know what we're talking about.
Oddments.
The oddments, yeah.
Oh, oddments, okay.
I couldn't think of what they were called. So that's kind of like events of old, but it's not as predatory because none of those rewards, like, those are all old rewards. They aren't like new shiny things. Like, it's still not great, but like, to me, the worst part of Treasure Hunter.
You can convert those Treasure Hunter items into oddments, the same for the equal amount.
The worst Treasure Hunter was when it was all those super manipulative events that you had to spend a ton of money to unlock stuff. That was when Treasure Hunter was at its worst.
I thought Power Up was probably the worst one. That's what caused all the backlash, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I don't even remember. I don't even think that one was as bad as people thought it was. I forget exactly what that was. I think people overreacted. I don't know.
You had the ability to basically get your prize reset based off.
Jagex had to pull back because they believed they went too far.
Yeah, but my point is that it's never logical what people think is too far. It's
Yeah.
always just based on feeling. It's never actually based on logic. Like people
perpetually
are
outraged.
just angry that Treasure Hunter exists, and then they
Yeah.
just like they flip out because they don't like this event. When it's like, to me, it's like I don't like Treasure Hunter, but I most hate the predatory events, and Treasure Hunter has been less predatory over the past 6 months than what it was before. Yes, there have been OP XP events, and I understand that sucks, but being less predatory is a good thing.
Remember the one we had a few months ago, Mahich, where you earned the the pieces in game just by normal skilling, and you get them all, and but you have to be it's like 8 or 10 hours a day. But you could also buy them on the GE, and there was that guy complaining about it.
Yep.
It's like, well, hang on, this is totally earnable in game. You do not have to spend a cent, but he was still complaining about
people. Yeah, people are always going to have something.
I mean, this is why like you basically can't win with microtransactions right now in the gaming community. Like people will say, "Oh, do it this way," but then they'll complain about it. You have this like in PUBG, the other game that I play a lot, where they have super predatory crate system right now, where you earn an in-game currency and then you buy crates, and half of the crates have to be unlocked with a key that costs $2.50 to buy. And so it's kind of this crappy system. So recently they've been adding more and more items that you straight up buy. There's like these $10 cosmetic items you can buy, and people are losing their shit about that too. And it's like, guys, pick one. Like,
yeah, right.
There needs to be a revenue source for this game. You can't complain about both. Like, pick one. The one that charges you straight up. Sure, this cosmetic item costs $10. Boo-hoo. At least you know what it cost.
They forgot to obfuscate their currency clearly. Like you got to turn it into V-Bucks, got to turn it into rune coins. You can't just straight up say it's $10. You got to make sure you obscure your currency.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is why, like, some games go egregious microtransactions, which RuneScape still hasn't. RuneScape has a lot of microtransactions, but they are not egregious. They are not game breaking. But like some
unless
games,
you care about XP.
But even that, like, only the top 0.1% are able to afford and make it game breaking. Like, so I don't even know if it's game breaking. Like, it costs
just like real life. Only the top 1% can afford to make it game breaking for the rest of us.
It costs, but my point is, it's not as bad as you think it is. Like, yes, it sucks, but it's not insane. Like, if it was insane, then anyone would be able to just get a fuck ton of XP off of it, and that's just not how the system works. Not what I want, but it's just not as bad as I think some people can perceive it to be. But the thing is, it doesn't matter how you do microtransactions, people lose their shit about it, and that's the fucked up thing. Like, with the way games work now, there needs to be an ongoing revenue source. People don't want to pay subscriptions. Like, I would personally gladly pay theoretically $30 a month for RuneScape. Honestly, I would, for no microtransactions. But I know that there would be me and like 5 other people who would do that.
Yeah.
If the majority of people would pay up front the value for something, we would not be in the market we are in now. But people do not want to pay up front for the value of something, especially if it's a digital good. People are not good at seeing value in digital goods or digital services.
Is harder. It is definitely harder to value an intangible product, but you have to think of it as a service, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing when they say it's going up $1. I thought that's nothing really. $1 when I consider if I take if I go to a movie, there's $20 for 2 hours entertainment.
Yeah,
$20. Is almost 2 months worth on a RuneScape. It's like what's going to give you a lot more entertainment, that longevity of entertainment.
And you had that 2 hours versus the probably 50 hours you're going to.
That's the other funny thing too. Is like people who complain. Like I see posts all the time talking about PUBG again. A guy like, I put 2,000 hours into this game and now I hate it.
And it sucks.
And it's like, you spent $30 on something that you played for 2,000 hours and you're complaining about it. What the fuck?
I know. That's like how I feel about H1Z1 and Just Survive. It's like, I got 350 hours out of that game. I spent $40 on it. It's like, whatever. I got 350 hours out of it. Yep. That's pretty good.
Anyways, we went off on a big tangent there. Anything else to say, or shall we?
Any other tangents to start, Mage Bit? No, I think I'll give it a rest. I could, but I won't.
Keep your eyes out on the podcast next week. Fingers crossed, I will have my my new thought bubbles and brain farts episode.
I recorded something yesterday while I was sitting outside, just kind of like stream of consciousness, just talking about life. I'm gonna toss it up on Patreon. Anyone can listen to it. It won't be gated behind being a patron. I'm just putting it there because I don't want it on YouTube where like people can be mean to me. So if anyone is interested in listening to it, you'll be able to go to patreon.com/RuneScape, and it will be the next post. I'm going to try to get it up when I get this show up and everything as well. So if you're interested, patreon.com/RuneScape, you can listen to it. It's only like 15 minutes long, so that's going to take the place of what would have been the pre-show. That's all I got.
Yeah. I also got a mini pre-show for like a 5-minute pre-show for you to throw up as well.
Oh, cool! I'll take it.
Yeah, and since we're talking about Patreon, you should go to Patreon and support RuneScape Weekly. You can sign up there and get cool stuff like access to pre-shows or access to past elite shows that we used to do. You can hear my first episode of RuneScape Weekly ever on Patreon.
Yeah, our Patreon archives go back almost 3 years now. There's a lot of stuff on there, and most of it's been consolidated at the $3 and $5 levels, so they're nice and easy to get a hold of.
Oh, you just reminded me. I've still got to pull off the old shows from 2010 onwards that I've got on my old computer.
And you can check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/RSWeekly. You can go on Twitter, twitter.com/RSWeekly. Discord.runeweek.com if you want to hang out with the community. Make sure to give us reviews and ratings in iTunes if you can, and also on YouTube. Reviews on iTunes make a big difference, so if you can't support the show monetarily, dropping us a review and a rating on iTunes can help people find the show in a huge way. And
we need to SSL protect our feed soon too, or we're gonna get kicked out of iTunes. If anyone wants to help me buy an SSL cert, get in contact with me.
There we go. That's important. I didn't realize iTunes was doing that.
Yeah, I got an email from them the other day, and they were like, "You're gonna need to get on that SSL train in the next few months, or we're gonna have to remove you from the store." And I'm like, "All right, I'll figure that out." And then I learned SSL certs are like $40 a freaking year, I think. And I'm like, my bank account is negative right now. I can't do that. So if anyone wants to help with that, let me know.
If anyone wants to donate $10, they can choose an hour of any solo boss for me to go and kill, and I'll record it and send it to MageBit to put up on Patreon.
Yeah,
so there you go.
Cool. There's a reward. So if you want to force Pern to solo Rax or solo Telos, there's a good one for you.
It should be me too, because I'm the kind of person that would panic when it comes to a boss fight, so I make it more entertaining.
Well, you can make a reward if you like. We have the clan at runescape.club.
Hell yeah.
And you can join us, kill skill and the letter N, chill in game if you want to talk with us. Pretty chill place to hang out. I can't remember if there's anything else to say, so I think Pern, what's your Twitch stream? You're a pro Twitch streamer now. Plug it.
Yeah. I'll just be Pernasius RS on Twitch.
I am pumped for this.
Hopefully Sunday I will get it started. As I said, it was supposed to be last Sunday, but thank you Telstra for giving me fast internet speed, and then thank you Chest for getting infected and giving me bronchitis.
Look, the gods don't want to keep Pern from streaming, or do want to keep Pern from streaming if they know how glorious it's going to be. So make sure you tune into that, otherwise you're gonna miss out. Thank you to our top Patreon supporters, David, Epic Sticks, I hope I pronounced that right, Sudwood, and Ricky A. I think there's some on this list that we haven't got updated yet, so I apologize, but thank you for those who started supporting recently, and have a great week, everybody.
I'm gonna raid somebody if I can here.